Oh, yeah.
There we go. That's the end of that one. That was Thunderbird, the name of the track from the Thelma and Louise soundtrack, 1991, by Hans Zimmer and others. Basically, it seems to be a case of Hans Zimmer doing the orchestrations, and then it's got certain people playing guitar. Then prior to that, there was the track Going to Mexico, which is more the sort of title track from Thelma and Louise. I watched Thelma and Louise last night, and I thought it would be worth just a brief mention in relation to my comments I often make with reference to Twin Peaks: The Return, in particular the culmination in Odessa, Texas, and certain parallels. Hello there, Phantom Cooper. Yeah, I am streaming, but it's not for a long video today, because I did one yesterday, obviously, with Mandela Man and Johnny. For the time being, anyway, I've decided to just not do the Sunday shows, certainly not 4 hours or something, because Voltaire's not around at the moment. Just seems a bit long, considering the sort of depreciating amount of viewers we get nowadays. I am very studious, Jamie. Thank you for pointing that out. I've become incredibly studious within the matter of just putting these glasses on. I've noticed, particularly because I've got a smaller laptop screen, even though the laptop itself should be better in terms of performance and stuff, like if I want to make a video or something like that, which sort of is one of my most favorite things at the moment, and I'm actually eyeing up entering a few competitions if possible. But that's in coming months. Obviously, I would mention it on here if I do, and probably put the video on this channel already anyway, prior to it being in a competition, if that's possible. But I think it's not a case of me not doing Sunday shows anymore in the future or anything like that. And I don't want to just be unappreciative of any viewers we do get, of course, which usually climb throughout the time that we're on the video, to the point when I finish the video, I'm getting the most viewers then, really. With the help, obviously, of other people who are on. But also I think I've got in mind that I don't really want to do, even though I might have a tendency to do, endless videos of me just speculating as to why did Christabel go off of social media last November, and that was pretty much around the same. Well, 'tis the season of also David Lynch going offline. So, I mean, you can read something into that if you want, but I mean, at the same time, I'm sure if there was anything, if there was an interview with David Lynch and Christabel, they'd just say, oh, it's just a coincidence because, we're doing this, that, and the other, and Christabel's working on a new album or something like this. But, as far as I've ever seen Christabel, she's always been on social media, even when she's been doing, making albums, making music, touring, etc. Hello, Gloria Stitz. Thank you. I'm glad you're looking forward to the streams. I'm looking forward to your comments as well, and trying to find out who is Gloria Stitz. Don't worry about being AWOL, Jamie. I mean, I'll tell you something, just, because I often am overly truthful. But I don't, or you could say it's just me being a gossip monger. But the kind of thing that happens behind the scenes with relevance to Coffee Time is far more sort of interesting, although Josh described it as naff, in terms of sort of the interactions between people and sort of people taking offense in certain ways. And, I can't really say it's ever been to the pitch of when you were involved in things, although, I don't mean that in a bad way, but anyway. But it's like I've got 2 Facebook accounts as far as I'm aware. And it got to the point where I just blocked Davrin because he was sending me messages about, have you got any more rumors for me, James? Have you got any more things that are going on behind the scenes? Like as if that's somehow really interesting and you need to talk about it on a show. But the worst thing was that the last thing he sent me was an actual copy screenshot of something relating back to you when you were involved in the shows and everything. And it just made me just think, like, this is the level of Davrin's sort of interest in everything. It's all to do with gossip and, enjoying this kind of just wallowing in disputes between different people who are on the shows, even if it kind of relates back to something that happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago, possibly. It's ridiculous, maybe from our perspective, we view it differently to how somebody like him might view it. And I'm not going to say anything bad about Davrin or Double D's or whatever this. It's just because, I corresponded with him uh, in the past, it sort of went through him basically bouncing comments off of or writing to Cameron, then writing to me, and then sort of relaying different responses from each of us back at each other, so as to get some kind of gossip going for himself, which is again, I'm not going to say it's sort of like bad or anything. I think it's understandable to a degree. I mean, I don't really, I'm not going to start, giving punitive measures for people when I'm the one involved in some of the talk. But it's not my intention to spread gossip or anything like that or be mean. It's just sort of annoying sometimes how things come up, so that there's probably more talk behind the scenes than there is in the chat or something. Do I hear from Tim anymore? Asks Gloria Stitz. Well, not really. I mean, I've heard from him here and there, probably, I think, since I saw him about a year ago or so. And I remember going around quite a lengthy walk around Nottingham with him, talking quite openly about things. And I enjoyed seeing Tim. I will say he was good support for me at that time in certain ways. So I'm not like a super social person, but on the other hand, I'm quite willing or able to talk to people who might be strangers and things like that. Double D's always give you a black eye when they bounce, LOL. Well, I've not had personal experience of that, Jamie, but I can imagine it would be possibly pretty enjoyable. But also, yeah, it is also something to watch out for. I will keep that one in mind. Thank you for the. It's a good tip in particular, I think. Davern is so annoying, LOL. Well, I think part of his whole makeup online is just to be annoying, really. That's how some people operate. Because you're not sort of part of the. If you're not like part of a kind of a page or a video taking part in it, I mean, or working on it as the host or a guest and running a page or something, then a lot of comments can seem like that in the end. Online, they can seem like people just coming in and trolling or sort of making snide comments or something. But they usually, the people who make good comments really rise to the top and shine above all of that. It's not a case of, I don't go online just to see people making stupid comments. I don't enjoy getting involved in Twitter or anything like that, even though I'm not on Twitter anymore because I just don't see the point. And there are some good people on there, but I can't really correspond with them much. People who write about American politics, for instance, but maybe they'll eventually go over to Threads or something like that. Storm in the Double D Cup, Gloria. So anyway, Gloria, where are you? Where are you living? Sorry, if I may ask. You don't have to be like, tell me your street name or something, but where do you live in the world? And then we can discuss possibly meeting up for a cup of coffee, I think. I've never met any women called Gloria ever. So I think it's a really good line to sort of try and get along with each other as well. Well, all right, okay. I mean, that is specific in terms of what country you're in, but can you tell me where you are within say, I am in the East Midlands, for instance. That's a good, because that's a pretty big area. I'm not, people know specifically where I am. Hilariously, Josh, when he was on, would broadcast my actual address. That's probably when the show was at its most popular. Anyway, I'm sorry to hear about your obvious, well, not so obvious to everybody, but I don't want to broadcast sort of the ins and outs of everything, Jamie. But I think it's sometimes difficult to go through different events and stuff, and grief and this kind of thing. But it takes some time for sure, usually, and it can be pretty difficult in the aftermath as well, really. Hertfordshire. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for telling me. I wouldn't say that Davron's aim is to be toxic. It's just that he basically is obsessed with Cameron, and then he will just use anybody else to try and find out more about Cameron, really. And now that Cameron and myself have both blocked him, really, well, not really, we have. He'll find any way to kind of get his claws back into us, namely me, through different accounts or whatever, or me having a different Facebook account. But I'm not going to start replying to him through an alternate Facebook account or something, or on an alternate account, which is blatantly obvious that he'll have on YouTube, because it just never ends, really. And I don't really understand what Davron's chief obsession is with Cameron, because I know he doesn't really. He doesn't find me that interesting, but at the same time, he will claim that he understands me and stuff like this in messages recently, and I find that kind of thing a bit sort of shallow, and like, oh, I understand you. That's a bit of a meaningless kind of thing to say to anybody, especially people you'd only talk to online, for instance. So yeah, it's just trying to get their talons into them a bit, I think. So a bit like with Charlotte when she was writing her Night Star visions about Twin Peaks, sort of in between the days after Leyland dies, and she had Bob as a taloned bird or owl, I believe. But there's a pub near me called Double D's, has a flat roof, bit rough inside. Hello, Dan Peak. Anyway, and sending best wishes to you, Jamie. Dan Peak, there's a pub near me called Double D's. What kind of name of a pub is that? What does Double D actually stand for? Sounds a bit suspect. I think you're possibly making that up, Dan. It's similarly to your picture. I don't think you actually are Dirty Harry with a Magnum. Back to Phantom Cooper. I don't know how anyone can be so obsessed with Cameron. He's so boring and a bit of a sneak. Well, me even repeating your comments on here and kind of getting involved in the whole discussion about what Cameron is like or whatever is not really the point I'm making, because having gone through different sort of stages, me and Cameron get on fine now, and if not very well. I don't think that doesn't mean that I'm beholden to Cameron or sort of, in awe of him or anything like that. It's just I view him as an online friend, and a good one at that. So I think everybody can be sneaky. I don't think he's boring though. That's not fair on him. He's he's got a lot of things to say about various films, etc., that are really interesting. Has Voltaire's absence got anything to do with Christabel disappearing from social media? Well, I know that he got banned from Christabel's social media because he kept sending pictures of those eggplants with sort of like water coming out of them nearby, like basically, to indicate male genitalia ejaculating, which was, and he insisted that she loved it, which I had some issues with. I don't think that was a bit predatory in the sense of the film I was going to mention, having watched it on BBC iPlayer, Thelma and Louise, but I don't think he was serious about that. But that doesn't mean you should say it, even if you're not serious. Sometimes, humor can be a bit difficult to work out sometimes. But no, I don't think he's got anything specifically to do with her going off of social media last November, or when exactly it was. It was around that time, as did Lynch. So, I'm not aware that Lynch was on the receiving end of stupid messages from Davrin or Voltaire either, and that was why he went off social media, not doing any more weather reports. I mean, I don't know, is YouTube social media? Not really, it's just a video hosting site. So yeah, he just decided to stop those because I think, Badalamenti passing away and then sort of just wanting maybe a bit more time to spend dealing with things. And from what it sounds like, he's sort of in a creative mindset these days. Then he has said, it means he can stay in bed longer. So well, I mean, Vanta Cooper, this is funny, but at the same time, completely wrong, The Obnoxious and Anonymous channel is Cameron's channel, not mine. I was just on it in the past when we used to do more Twin Peaks themed videos, especially in the run up to the return. So I have no involvement in it, creating it. I presume you're deliberately mixing that up with the Twin Peaks Worldwide page, which began as Bring Back Twin Peaks, but that isn't something that he's stolen at this point, or anyone's stolen. It's more a case of Cameron is running it and he's managed to get a lot more people signing up for it. So, that's definitely something that I would not have been able to do because I just don't tend towards quite as populist sort of, or popular, just posting images from Twin Peaks or Lynch's films or whatever with snappy titles and things like this. Like I always want to start some kind of massive discussion or something, and the pages are largely not really made for that, on Facebook especially. I was the main reason most people tuned in on on Obnoxious Anonymous. Well, I don't think it was just me. It was to be, modest and like appreciative at the same time. I think that some people might have tuned in to see me make comments which were sort of flipping off the flip side kind of Cameron's comments, which were more rational, and there was a sort of conflict going on between Cameron kind of making observations about things and then me going off on some sort of tangent about Michael Janderson dancing on a bed or James Hurley flying over the double R on his bike, which sadly never occurred in Twin Peaks: The Return. But yes, there is a Sunday show, Johnny. I'm just doing this one right now, and basically, I didn't think it would be a particularly long show because of the kind of thing that I was going to just mention. But at the same time, anybody's welcome to come together with me on this if they want. If they also, especially if they've got something they want to talk about. I will say it's sometimes difficult because I feel like I'm kind of trying to drag things out of people a bit. But sometimes with Mandela Man, it's like very difficult though to keep him within any kind of understandable discussion sometimes. So I end up getting a bit lost to the point. I mean, we did have the recent video where it was Cameron and then it was Johnny and Mandela Man, and he, Ben, aka Mandela Man, went into sort of areas where he started discussing paedophilia. I mean, it was like, I don't even know why it ended up like that or what the reason behind any of it was. So, and I think it was a bit too sort of, unrelated to anything specifically we were talking about or personal experience. So it just ended up becoming almost salacious, really. And it's not my kind of thing I like to discuss just for no point, It's well, a Phantom Cooper, he didn't ruin it. He more really, he just sort of like Cameron's doing his own thing or was doing his own thing, specifically, Queen of Hearts. So it wasn't a question of what you're saying. So yeah, more to just close in terms of this video. I would say that, of course, I recommend the film Thelma and Louise if you've not watched it for the last 30 years. But I wouldn't necessarily give it the kind of rating of 5 out of 5 like some people might, declaring it a classic and all this kind of thing. I pretty much view it similarly to the to how it was originally, and it has been given a restoration recently. I think it's also come out on Criterion. So yeah, it's been re-released in cinemas in some different areas in the UK, Australia. I think the film was incredibly popular, but in many ways, I think it was Ridley Scott sort of embracing somewhat the music video style filmmaking, which became quite prevalent in the 90s. And as a road movie, it was, of course, coming in the wake of Wild at Heart, of which I think it shares certain characteristics, but it's definitely not as energetic or charged as Wild at Heart. In fact, it's almost got a kind of a sleepiness about it, a kind of a dreamy aspect, which lends itself to my comparison to the end of Twin Peaks: The Return. The film's not exactly subtle in terms of its portrayal of different forms of masculinity or men, trying to prove their worth in this kind of almost Western landscape. There's this memorable shot where they go to one of the truck stops along the way, or gas station, and it's like there's basically in the background a guy, a weightlifter, really bulging body, just pumping iron in the background behind them, serving themselves with petrol or going in or whatever. And Similarly, Brad Pitt's kind of portrayal of this basically criminal thief cowboy kind of character is almost so broad that he comes across as kind of unbelievable, to the point where you think, is this Gina Davis's actual dream of this form of sexual escape? And I think you could interpret the film as that, as a fantasy in many ways, because there's just so many aspects in it which don't seem to quite register in terms of, is this real or is this part dream or something? Because in particular the ending, but along the way when Gina Davis just starts laughing her head off about the man they shot, or that Susan Sarandon's character, I can't remember which is which, Thelma or Louise, it sort of seems like a hysteria scene that you might almost expect in something Wild at Heart. But it just kind of comes out of nowhere, which is typical of this film, with these abrupt edits at the end of scenes as well, where it will cut off the male characters specifically more than anyone. The Harvey Keitel, the husband of Gina Davis, they just sort of have these scenes which are cut off from, and it quickly goes back into the female main storyline, of course, which everybody's interested in. The rest is just sort of like some kind of side pantomime. And Gina Davis's character is very much loath to go anywhere near Texas, and her partner is asked, partner in crime asks her, was it because you were raped there? And I don't think she gives an answer specifically, but overall I do think it's a relevant film if you look at Lynch as well, in terms of like the ending of Twin Peaks: The Return, which portrays Texas as this kind of barren wasteland of almost parched memory, and people just desolate in this kind of nowhere purgatory, where Carrie Page doesn't even seem to be able to remember why there's a guy in her chair at the back of her room, dead. It's similar. It's a similar kind of sensibility to Thelma and Louise, except done in the abstract more, I suppose. I mean, in terms of music and everything, I think that I really liked that aspect of Thelma and Louise. I really liked the style of the film by Ridley Scott, but I do think that some people just love it for the style. I mean, it's got great lead performances, of course, but otherwise, there's not really anything that fascinating about the film. You don't really learn anything in particular about Thelma or Louise. In my view, yes, they're both, well, yeah, Gina Davis's character is definitely a waitress, not in Judy's diner, but in a busy diner where she lectures younger people. She says to them, you look, very young to be smoking, but then we see her immediately smoking herself. She says it lowers sex drive. And so it's dealing with this kind of aspect of sort of wanting to recapture your youth in a way that's been stolen away by men, perhaps. But because, I mean, the Brad Pitt character, who I found incredibly annoying, actually, is just that, he's barely, well, he looks probably like early 20s, really, maybe mid-20s, but he looks very young for that age. And the whole sexual side of it all is so exaggerated in the way it's filmed, and it seems like an idealized vision of that kind of scenario for Gina Davis's character, because of course at the start of the film she's very much a victim of near rape, so it's kind of very much so a kind of turning that on its head 180 degrees, So rather than being something which is a violation and everything, which results in her friend shooting this guy dead outside the country and western kind of bar that they're in, which would be probably my ideal place to go in America, in fact, dancing. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, it's just people all dancing in like long rows and stuff, and it looks really swelteringly hot. It's kind of hellish, really, in a way, the way it's filmed. So, um, but yeah, I mean, it's a good film for sure. It's very much a movie rather than some kind of. I don't think it's a classic film, particularly as some people might claim. You know, maybe it is a classic of some sort. No, I've not seen Tetris, so I don't know what that is even. But Texas sucks. Yes. Does it though? I've never been, but I think my main problem with it would be just the weather, where you're just pretty much and if everything's dictated by the weather. So mm, I don't really like being in a situation where it's just too hot or too humid, as it has been here recently, and it just gets basically a sweaty situation or unpleasant. I do think it's a problem that people will be facing more and more as climate change happens. So the more that people can kind of try and find ways of counteracting that, then that would be good, obviously. But you worry, like, is it too late, really? The ice in the North Pole, etc., or Antarctic, I'm not sure, is apparently melting faster than they thought. Some of the biggest icebergs, and one of them they even call the climate change iceberg because they can sort of monitor which bits of it are sort of collapsing faster than probably they would do if it was just uh, to be expected, I suppose. They've got scientists who look at these things and know what they're talking about, unlike me, and I trust these scientists. I don't trust people who just start going, "Oh goddamn, that climate change is just made up shit." I don't know where that even came from. I don't know why I said that, but I don't think it is hogwash or shit or something. It's true. I love it when Brad Pitt's character looks at Gina Davis's husband and says, "I like your wife." Brutal. Well, that is another thing in the film, which is part of this just masculine, idiotic behavior, which, you would probably expect coming from the Brad Pitt character, in that he's young and, he's covetous of her, even though he's, what he does with her and Gina Davis's character is just Thelma and Louise is just that he uses them, as women really to get the money that they've got. But if so happens, there's a fantastic sex scene in the middle of it all, then fantastic for everybody. But at the same time, he has just used them and stolen from them. So
Hello, James. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, I didn't say I was going to do a video today, obviously. So I'm not planning on doing some really long video tonight. With eventually it comes to 5 hours down the line and Mandela Man
Yeah.
appears suddenly or something. It's just
It then goes into the void where we don't see him. Yeah.
no, I don't want to do that at all.
I'm just enjoying. I'm just enjoying. Just listening to the conversation. It's a really good show today. Just enjoying it.
Well, I think it's a question of what are we going to talk about for the rest of, say, I don't know, the next half hour.
True.
I
heard you mentioning Annie or talking about Davin before about the rumors of possible another season of Twin Peaks, but I haven't heard any information or any news. Or
yeah, I mean, I thought I've followed. Did you not really watch any of Cameron's videos?
No, I haven't had a chance to. I've only just been seeing what you've done.
Well, they are like all on YouTube, but I'll say like with Cameron's videos, he has talked about how Lynch is sort of not taking calls and is very, focused on his kind of creative life at the moment. So within that, you would think, okay, that makes sense of why he's not doing the weather report now, because people say, oh, well, the weather report wouldn't prevent him from doing something else, like making a TV show. But obviously that's like a bit sort of a broad sweeping statement. I don't think it's a case of like, I've got to finish doing the weather report so I can concentrate on everything else. It's just, these things just happen like that in his life, I imagine. And he says, I can sleep later if I'm not making the weather report. And he said in the past that he was pretty much living like a farmer during the COVID and everything when he kept doing the weather report, in that he would go to bed early, get up early, do the weather report, and then he's got the rest of how long he spends the rest of the day doing whatever, painting or something, So I think the idea of him being able to stay in bed longer would indicate that he's therefore staying up later at night doing something.
I see. Yeah, that's true.
He's kind of he's not someone who doesn't give out hints, of something happening, but it doesn't mean that he's going to say, yes, I'm making Twin Peaks season 4. So yeah, it's because if he gets up later, that doesn't mean that he's going to bed at like 9 p.m. and then getting up at 9 p.m. a.m.
Yeah.
Because Lynch is like 77 now, and like with my parents, they go to bed early and then get up earlier.
Really early, yeah.
So usually, well, not really early. Unless, sometimes they might wake up in the middle of the night, for instance, and but they don't. So with someone like Lynch, the fact is he is 77, and then people will say, "Oh, does that mean that he can actually make anything at this age?" But there's nothing preventing him from.
No.
He can still walk,
Yeah.
But
and he still has his full capacity. Like he's thinking clearly. He's still there, all there.
Well, we don't really know in terms of like his, medical history, obviously. But
true, yeah. Well,
he may have he could have some underlying conditions, but we don't know. So at the same to the same degree, that's not something that he's ever really spoke about immensely anyway.
No.
He's not a celebrity in that sense. So, I think Lynch is definitely doing something creatively and may have filmed some stuff already in terms of people mentioning that there's been erections, in his back garden and things. So,
well, I would think he has probably a pilot. Like I would assume that he filmed something before COVID, and maybe it's just sitting there, kind of on the shelf. It's maybe done. That's just my belief.
Well, possibly, but I don't know. All I know is what I've heard, and I've never heard that he started doing anything like back in between, say, 2018 to 2020, other than they had the announcement that there was going to be the Graceland event, and something may be mentioned there, as in what Lynch is up to. Like, you know, if you think from that, in terms of it being, people have said that Lynch has been filming something or wants to, whether he already has or whether he wants to film something which has a lot of period kind of aspect to it. You know, I mean, not like obviously on the scale of, say, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I mean, and not even on the scale of part 8 of season 3, where we have the older cars or car and, you know, bits and pieces. But I mean, it seems possible that it could have an old school aspect to it, going back to the 50s again or something like that. I mean, it could all be in that whole segment again, could be in black and white, for instance, and then Voltaire would be just probably refuse to watch it. So. He's only watched the colour section. I mean, I hope it's 50-50 colour and black and white. So
yeah.
Not ideally, though. I mean, no, I don't really. I don't wish that against Voltaire. It's just a case of you know, I don't think that he should make something purely for the sake of it. But I get a feeling like that he wanted to carry on after the return because it sort of, you know, fired him up and gave him good ideas, extra stuff. You know, I think that there was extra stuff there in the boiler or whatever. And you know, Sabrina Sutherland says, yes, I'm hoping Lynch will look through his boxes. And I mean, obviously, those boxes of his would be inside some of these outhouse erections that he's got in the garden, etc., which have been created for him by different workers and everything, and that he could be filming inside these erections, probably.
Is that the word erect? Because it sounds wrong. Is that the word erections? It sounds like you might be using it wrong. I don't know.
No, they do call, like, if Lynch wanted a very basic, small area to film in for himself, and, you know, when I mean small, I mean like, you know, when he made the Rabbits shorts initially, they were made for his own davidlynch.com, which Cameron signed up for. And you know, he filmed that in a sort of stage kind of on the hill behind his properties there, and some people complained nearby because they could hear the music or whatever that was being Lynch was putting on the sounds that were going on in the background and stuff. People were like, we're trying to sleep here.
Enough with the rabbits.
And he was shouting, you know, God damn you, mother effers. I'm a director and I'm genius, all right? Let me get on with it. But yeah, and he says, I'm doing something here with my erection. But
See, it sounds
I don't know if Jamie's now still in the chat, but you could probably weigh in on this if you think anything about Lynch's, you know, erections or outhouses.
It just sounds
no, but he could be building kind of sheds or outhouses, which would be sort of very small sets, in the sense of like the one he built for which was made in another place, obviously, for the What Did Jack Do film, which was made obviously for just a festival, some kind of art festival. But you know, that's like something he made, and then people like make jokes about it. But that shows that he's got the ability to film things which look as good as anything that was really in Twin Peaks: The Return, to be honest. I mean, I've looked, actually, I signed up for Paramount Channel. I can't even remember why now, but
probably the 3-month giveaway. They were giving that away for a while, like a 3-month.
Well, I'm not watching Yellowstone at this point, but there's something else on it that I wanted to watch. But anyway, you know, when you watch it on that, it does look good. Twin Peaks: The Return. I mean, visually, it's vibrant. You know, if you look at, say, Thelma and Louise, which I was talking about earlier, like I watched that yesterday, and it's like you can tell that was filmed on celluloid. Whereas Twin Peaks: The Return, I would say it looks digital, but it's got
Yeah.
some kind of processing which gives it a little bit of grain. It looks about as good as you would expect. It looks pretty good mostly.
I
But
do miss that older look that film would give you. You know, that grainy look. You know, I love that look.
well, it's not grainy in the. I would say the pilot of Twin Peaks is maybe a bit grainier. Possibly Fire Walk with Me was a bit, but I think as a whole, the show itself, it visually looks just as good as it could do being shot on film. But it's not. It wasn't showcasing the fact that it was shot on film. It didn't. I mean, but like I think The Return in certain parts, you know, if you look at the bits with Frank Truman in the sheriff's station, etc., it looks good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Sorry, I didn't mean it to be disturbing, Jamie. I thought you might enjoy it.
See, I knew it was something. I knew it wasn't just me because I heard him say it the first time. I thought he was making a joke, but then he kept saying it. I'm just wait, something's off there.
It's not supposed to be a joke. It's serious.
No, I wanted to correct you just so you didn't sound like
Lynch's art life. You know,
Lynch is showing off his erection, just constantly.
I don't think he would be because there's not many probably visitors coming into the compound, apart from Monkey Island last night saying that Chris Isaac was seen there, but taking in a surfboard.
Did he have an erection too? The show. Sorry.
I don't know. It's getting a bit homoerotic now.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry.
What time is it now for you, anyway? Like
2:29.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I think that Lynch is up to various things, but
yeah, I think
we
so too.
probably might not hear about it until sort of the end of the year or start of next year, something like that, I imagine. But
that's because what a waste, because he's such a talent, and for like Netflix, Hollywood, anybody not to just beg the guy constantly just to do a project. He's just such a talent. Once he's gone, it's such a loss to the world because he's added so much to cinema and to the way people produce and make movies and think about the world. It's incredible. And I hope he does do one more last thing, because I've always felt he's deserved so many awards in the past that he's never gotten. You know, I feel like even Dune, I felt it needed some type of award. But sorry, that's just my little spiel. And you know.
No, I think I'm sure that Dune definitely got some awards. Maybe not in America, but you know, the probably more for the visuals and things. You know,
yeah, which are incredible. Yeah,
there's no reason really to start suggesting that anything could be the last project of Lynch. I think there's a tendency for people to sort of think in that kind of way because of the fact that Lynch smokes, or because he doesn't come off like, say, you know, a director who's out there making a film every couple of years or something. So, which could happen, you know, and there's people like Woody Allen or mainstream big American directors like Clint Eastwood, etc., who carry on making films into their 90s, you know. So, you know, that's a bit old to be doing it, but at the same time, it's not impossible if you were still. But I mean, obviously, that means that Lynch could at least have another 10 years or so to be creatively doing something.
Yeah.
Maybe even a bit longer. It really depends on what he makes, though.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think especially during this difficult period of COVID and everything, it's entirely likely that he may have sort of stocked up on various things. Like you mentioned, you know. So is there anything else, other film-wise topics or anything that you wanted to mention before we head off into the night today? Yeah,
just that the latest, I think Indiana Jones is going to be one of the biggest box office bombs in history or something. That's one of the newest news out there.
Right. But no, I mean more in terms of what you've watched and things.
Oh, it's been a slow week this week. This week I haven't really had anything new to check on.
Yeah, I don't think Indiana Jones will be one of the biggest bombs ever, because things like there's been much more major bombs, like for instance the famous Ishtar in the 80s.
Yes, yeah. And Waterworld too. That was also another one. Waterworld, I think.
Yeah, but although I think that still ended up with people who liked it. So
yeah.
I think that the Indiana Jones film pretty much, it was obvious even before it came out that people were just not interested in it, even so-called fans, And I do think there's been a case of some people like yourself and Mandela Man, who were a little bit like almost too ready to jump on it, saying, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, rather than actually talking about what was good about it. I mean, that's just
That's a fair assessment. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean,
the reason was for me because of the last film. I felt like kind of let down. So you're right. I went into this one with that's a fair assessment. I agree.
Yeah, but imagine, say, if the fourth film didn't even exist, and then this one came out as it feels like just like an almost too late to the gate kind of film, where it's like Indiana Jones is now a bit too old to be doing this, believably.
Yeah,
but I thought it was an okay film overall. It wasn't as bad as people are making out.
No,
anyway.
It was a competent film, like on its own. It was a competent film. But then if you put it towards the, if you compare it to the other great 1, 2, and 3, you were saying you love the first one. Imagine comparing this one to that one. That's where people are going on.
Well, it's just, I think that the first one is superior to all of them, and the other films are different, though. Each one is its own thing in a way, really. But
yeah, very much so. Yeah.
This one is very much its own thing as well. Like, it doesn't try and make, for instance, the Nazis to be some kind of really fearsome element. They're just kind of there, and like, I mean, people might think, oh, Mads Mikkelsen's in it, he's going to be scary, but he's not scary. He's just
no
playing kind of like a guy, which is fair enough, really. I mean, you can't just keep repeating the same thing because it becomes cliche. And at the ending, it did give me, I got a bit tearful. So
that's good. Yeah.
And I just don't think, like, I get the feeling like that you and Mandela Man didn't, for instance.
No, and I wish I did. To be honest with you, I wish I felt that same type of feeling. Honestly.
Well, when Marion appeared and everything, it just
she always warms my heart whenever I see her or that actress. I'm really fond of her. She's a nice face.
But you didn't get any kind of emotional reaction.
You know what I did when I saw them together? That when she walks in the door, and then you kind of see, when you first see them in that one shot together, you kind of get those nostalgia feelings. It's just, but it kind of feels like it ends so abruptly. I would have liked maybe 2 more minutes of maybe more dialogue or something, or something between them. But other than that, but you do make a good point about that, that ending.
It was a little bit sort of, I don't know, I think it was paced deliberately like that to be sort of, like you've gone through all this kind of adventure, and then it goes back to this sort of domestic situation, which we never really see at all of Indiana Jones's film. In any of the films, really. So it was in keeping with that, but this actually had Indiana Jones living in a city, which was obviously supposed to be New York, I presume. Was it New York? I don't know.
I think it was, which was kind of a little odd that he was in New York, but yeah.
Well, I think he'd just gone anywhere that he could get employed, because I mean, it was supposed to be. True. It doesn't explicitly say, but it's supposed to be like he's in his 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Because he says to the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, I'm twice your age. So, and I don't think she's supposed to be like 40 or even. So yeah, but
she's probably like 35, twice his age, 70. Yeah, it makes sense. And I think there's a line, James, in the other film, The Crystal Skull. There's one line, a passing line, where he says he was fired or released. So that would make sense if you had to look for other work. Yeah, that's true.
Like, he's in a position that's not exactly ideal for him, but at the same time, you probably can't find that many positions where you would be employed at that age in a university. in this day and age, especially. I mean, in the past, maybe, but I mean, the thing is, it's even in that day and age, and I think it portrays that well as well. Like, he's a bit of a relic at that point, but
yeah.
and he's clearly supposed to have a bit of a drinking problem as well at the start.
They allude to that, that he's been since he lost.
I mean, it's very. I do think that the Dial of Destiny is almost like dialed down, literally, in terms of its adult content. Or,
I was going to say,
you know, like,
emotional impact.
there's no blood in it, basically. The first film has quite a bit of bloodletting where people are shot.
True, yeah.
The second one does.
That's a good point, yeah.
Where it doesn't have loads, but it has bits like where the guy falls into the machinery, you know, again, similar to the first one where it's the plane, but
yes,
you know what I mean? And then you see the red mark, and then the kid turns away like...
Yes, done so well. Typical Spielberg, incredible Spielberg shot. Yeah. That's a great shot.
Well, yeah. It's not... Like, this film, I mean, you could say there's a certain Disney-ification of everything, but at the same time, I do think that in its credit, it doesn't feel too Disney, really.
You're right. It's in a vein of it, but without feeling like it was totally it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, but I do think one issue is the 2.5 hour runtime. It's like no Indiana Jones film really needs to be this long, and I just feel like all they're doing is there's going to be a 3-hour director's cut, and
it hurts replayability because, like, one of the reasons I love the hour and a half, because you can watch it over. You can watch it this day, tomorrow, the next day.
Well, they're usually about just under 2 hours. So, you know, Indiana Jones could be an hour and a half, absolutely, but they're a little bit sort of, they're like an old-fashioned swashbuckling type of old film. But then with an added amount of, you know, what Spielberg brought to it, sort of music and grandeur and locations, but it doesn't sort of go into the point where you're thinking this film is just swollen and has become...
This movie did miss what Spielberg would bring, you know, because Spielberg always has those moments, those scenes where not only are they iconic.
Yeah, Paul from in the fourth.
Yes, but even that, there's a scene here and there with dialogue where it still feels like he knows it's Indiana Jones. He knows the character, you know. This new one, it didn't have those Spielberg moments, obviously because he wasn't director yet. But if people understand what I'm trying to say, like, there's those moments you always know that's a Spielberg moment. Like what you were talking about with Short Round or whatever, when they turn around and they see the blood or something, you know, just those type of Spielberg moments were missed in this new one, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too bothered about that because I don't think necessarily if I honestly don't think Spielberg would have added them if it was directed by him. He's just, in terms of, like, I mean, he made The Fabelmans recently, which Ben Mandela Man went on about a lot, and I saw, which is 2.5 hours, I believe. Wow. Has Lynch appear at the end as John Ford, but it's not in any way, shape, or form like epic filmmaking, you know, in the sense of
almost like a documentary, almost, or just kind of low key.
No, it's more like just a very like a modest film in style. I mean, it has a few moments where it's a bit more sort of things going off, but them going through a storm or something like this. But as a whole, it's more focused just on it's like a very, you know, a well-made film, but domestic sort of focus.
Yeah.
With the Michelle Williams playing his mother, and is that her name? Yeah. The one who was in Dawson's Creek originally, and she's something of an odd, strange character, but yeah, Mandela Man summed it up well. Like, it's an interesting film worth watching. But I think, like, Spielberg sort of just moved on from he clearly didn't want to go back down that path again of trying to resurrect, you know, his kind of style from the earlier films that was not there in the fourth one so much. He's just like, okay, I'm going to just leave it after that now because George Lucas forced me to have those aliens in it and stuff. And it's just...
He was right there.
And then that just ruined the film, basically.
I know.
Although I don't really think it ruins it. It just changes it into something else altogether.
If Lucas had his way, James, Indiana would have had a little alien character following him the whole movie. If that's what George Lucas wanted.
Yeah, but the film doesn't feel as organic and natural as any of the Indiana Jones films before, where they had proper locations. Like this has scenes that are obviously sets, and I've seen the making of where they were building that kind of pyramid building, which is a real place in the world.
Wow. Yeah.
And it like the top comes up and all that. I mean, obviously that's not a real place, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is a real location, but not the way the top comes out and all that. Like,
yeah.
And it's just, it's quite exciting in a way, like just passively watching them going down, running down the steps, like, and it's well done. But on the other hand, it feels like Spielberg just going through the motions, the same kind of motions he went through with War of the Worlds, except I think the War of the Worlds was actually a high point of his more, like he went just mainstream Hollywood post 2000 in a way. And
I agree with that assessment.
Like that War of the Worlds starts with these really great shots of how they're living in this house, and there's this sort of big bridge behind it.
Yeah,
and I always thought that was very Spielberg.
Yeah,
and its sense of creating just this sense of a place and a kind of just amazing kind of American visuals, but at the same time, it just then becomes like essentially just a chase movie, really.
Creature feature,
yeah. I mean, it's pretty good, but it's not as good as like maybe the beginning of the film.
The build up to it, that's always the best part. It's almost like if you could just prolong that and make the ending just like an all out, and then have it maybe end abruptly, almost like on a.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to the point where it's basically just Dakota Fanning, the little girl in it, like who then she's in what's it called? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She comes to the door. Do you remember in the house where?
Yes.
Yeah, and anyway, she says she's like the lover of that like really old guy lying sleeping. But anyway, all she does is just scream in her scenes a lot, and it gets really like, oh my god,
calm down.
It's just really high pitched screaming.
Yeah.
And you just think like, this is not supposed to be happening like this, Spielberg. You've done it wrong. It's not like this in, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You just have that little boy constantly screaming at high pitch. Because it becomes like the Goonies or something. It's just 2 hours of kids screaming, basically.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not the start of the film. That's a case of the start of the film being better than the end.
Yeah.
Really. That's Richard Donner anyway, not Spielberg. But
no,
he produced it. So, and you can really feel Spielberg's hand in it. But I think actually a really good example of a Spielberg film in all but sort of directorial name is Poltergeist.
Poltergeist,
Well, Back to the Future as well, but also Poltergeist more than.
I agree.
Poltergeist is directed by Tobe Hooper, who directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's like, what? Doesn't really quite fit together. Like, why did they give him this massive? I mean, big block, not like massive blockbuster, but it did turn out to be a massive success. But that's the thing: people need, if there's going to be a blockbuster, they need basically a sort of a new thing happening, and I don't mean just a red door. Like they need a film which attracts a new audience, and sometimes I really don't know how these Mission Impossible films keep attracting audiences.
They've almost become the Americanized version of James Bond. Because when I see it now, I'm just saying it's James Bond, but it's without any British actors, and so it loses that kind of I like watching British films, so it loses whatever that it brings to us. But anyways, they're still good films.
They're okay. I think the new one is supposed to be definitely very good. And Mark Commode was giving a review here, and he said, that the ending is really, really, really good. And he was like gripping the sides of his chair and all this, but I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was thinking to himself, make it stop. And it's like, I mean, it sounds intense, but
that
at the
sounds
same
very
time,
intense. Wow, I'm actually looking.
It could be just his opinion based on being in the cinema and getting like a free film to watch.
That's
so.
True. Yeah.
But I pretty much trust him. I can imagine it's probably pretty good for a Mission Impossible film.
Did his partner also see it too? I always forget his name. The other guy,
Simon Mayo. Yeah, he used to be. Well, he's always been a radio host mainly.
Yeah, you can tell. I like him. He's very low key, and I sometimes find myself agreeing with his points sometimes more whenever I watch
Yeah,
them. Sometimes.
yeah, definitely. I think that Mark Commody's can be somewhat confusing in his response to
Very
things, but
confusing because sometimes you think he's going to react. Okay, I'm going to watch this. He's going to react, and then you're like, "Whoa, that's the opposite of what I thought." Okay.
well, I don't know. I think he's just a complex character where he says that he's like a Methodist, like a Christian. He goes to church, like he loves The Exorcist, but then recently he says, "I don't believe in possession, though."
Whoa.
So I was like thinking,
Wow.
I mean, in my mind, I thought, well, if you like The Exorcist, then you're pretty much going to believe in possessions, right?
I would think so, yeah.
To some extent, in some way.
Yeah, especially if he's, like you said, he has a Christian beliefs. You would know it's in the Bible. A bunch of possessions, famous stories, possessions in the Bible. So, wow.
Maybe he means it in some specific kind of way. I think he'd have to be a longer interview. So.
Yeah. But that's an interesting point you bring up. And that's a good point Jamie brings up, too. I bet you, one out of every probably 3 people don't even know, or kids are like at my age or whatever, younger, don't even know it was a TV show.
Well, I don't know. It's just like, for instance, with Indiana Jones now, they've put all of the films remastered in 4K on the Disney channel.
So really? I got to check that out. Well,
I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark in that. I mean, sometimes the 4K thing is it basically just makes it look grainier and sharper, but it's like, doesn't necessarily mean it's better, sorry.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
It's good, though. It's none that's good, and, it sounds good, but the sound is good, I mean. But,
yeah, because on that note, just quickly, because when they did a 4K of Terminator movie, of Terminator 2, it got panned because it was so digitized and used what's called DNR, digital noise reduction. It basically takes out all the grain, so basically it looks like it's today's type of film making. And people,
so it may as well have been filmed digitally.
Exactly. So people prefer the 1080p edition. It's called the Skynet edition. It's the one it's 1080p, but it was done directly from the film, and it kept all its quality and actually looks better than the 4K era, weirdly enough. So yeah, so anyone out there who's looking for a Terminator 2, the Skynet edition is the better than the 4K.
Yeah, I think a lot of, like, say, younger people will watch the Indiana Jones films as a result of them just being put on Disney, because then they'll hear of the new, and it gives a promotion for that. But I genuinely think that, like, a lot of them will be happy, and older audience as well, like us or even older, will watch, say, like my mum really wanted to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark again, but she can't find where to watch it online. So, she's not subscribed to Disney. But I mean, I think a lot of people...
You could share your Disney Plus with her. I think Disney allows up to four users at the same time. Yeah, at the same time.
Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think, like, a lot of people are not so bothered about going out to the cinema to see Dial of Destiny, because it's already being advertised on Disney as coming soon on there. If you look,
I know.
It's like,
that's what Cameron said the first week it came out. He's like, "Well, I'll just wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks for it to come on Disney Plus."
And like, it doesn't even make. I mean, in some ways, it almost doesn't even. I honestly have issues with all of this kind of, like, advertised budgets and things like this. I think a lot of it is like baloney. And like with the new Dial of Destiny, I don't reckon that the budget is as high as they're claiming. The actual,
unless
James, when it does make money, I think it'll make it at home viewing, and it'll break even probably in the end. But it's like,
somebody was bringing up that they might have done so many reshoots, James. That's why it's so blown up. There could be like 3 or 4 different versions of this movie that could.
But there will be. I bet there'll be longer cuts and things. But the thing is, that's just all a way of making, like, when it comes out on the first week of release or something, it'll be $14.99 here to rent. That's really where they start making the money more than in the cinema. And even in the cinema, it's not done as bad as they forecast.
No.
I mean, Insidious: The Red Door has got more admissions this week than Indiana Jones. I mean, obviously that is not good.
No.
Yeah, I
know.
It's not like, but the thing is, it's not got the same excitement as when Crystal Skull came out.
I know, because they got to build on the fact that this is Indiana Jones's return to the cinema. Whereas this one he's already done.
Yeah, but this is his return again.
Exactly.
After the one with the aliens in.
Exactly, which he doesn't mention. Remember when he's going on the spiel? I've been cut. I've been shot. He doesn't say I was also blown up in a nuclear bomb. I dealt with aliens.
No, I mean, one time I got in a fridge and it went
Yeah,
flying like a mile into the air.
after a nuke went off.
Then I landed erect in the fridge. It just kind of flopped open, and I was like, "Oh, that was a bit of a funny thing that happened." But I'm feeling fine. Like,
there's a Fallout game that spoofed that.
Like all his bones be broken or something.
Oh yeah, he'd be crushed. Even just surviving the explosion and the heat is ridiculous. My God.
No, I mean from the start, Crystal Skull is like on another level of like.
As soon as you see those digital chipmunks or something.
If anything, that's the one that's even more Disney-fied.
Yeah.
Dial of Destiny feels almost a bit like this could have been made in almost like 1997, but you know, but it's just sort of feels a bit kind of like just okay, we'll just do another one because it'll help. Also, then people will go back and watch all the other ones and get more people subscribing to Disney. Like,
yeah.
And so in the end, it all balances out. And
I kind of wish they would have made Phoebe, what's it, the actress' name, or Helena, her character. I wish they would have made her a slightly little more likable because they had too many scenes of her screwing over Indy.
Yeah, I will agree on that, but I don't think that they were in any way interested in making her likable. That was.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's maybe why the Marion scene at the end sort of warmed the cockles of my heart a bit more.
I agree with you there. That makes sense. Yeah.
Like Phoebe Waller-Bridge was entirely right to the end, pretty much just selfish.
Yeah, there was no redemption arc. There was no, oh, look, she's changing as a human. Oh, look, she started off this way, but by the end of the film...
the only way she benefits Indiana, him not being able to stay in basically back in time,
the past,
is punching him in the face. So
elder abuse. I'm surprised no one's brought that up.
Because she didn't kick him in the balls as well.
Poor guy, poor Indy, 80 years old, is knocked out.
Yeah, I did. I used to see her on TV or something because she's been in a lot of TV things.
My brother told me about a show called Fleabag or something.
Yeah, you probably think that was okay, where she looks at the camera and she's often talking about how horny she is and that kind of thing. So it's a bit.
Yeah, that's what my brother literally told me.
She's lusting after a priest in it or something. Yeah. But that's different. I mean, she's working in basically like a cafe and stuff, and then yeah, it's an okay thing. She's more suited to that because actually, apparently, she got an audition for Downton Abbey when it was first. They were casting for it.
On that for sure.
And like people, but then they said that she was too funny, so they didn't because they would make like she couldn't take her seriously. Because the thing is, in this, she's not that funny either. No. It's not like. They don't. I mean, because they can't have her just sort of look at the camera and then go, which she does in Fleabag all the time. It's like, yeah,
you can tell she almost
says something. Yes, I saw your erection earlier in the garden.
Yeah,
and then it's her just looking at the camera like, yeah. And I was like saying to my mum, "Do you actually watch that thing, Fleabag? It's really annoying when she's doing that thing, looking at the camera." Because I'm thinking, what's she doing that at me for?
I know.
I get really angry. I've written into the BBC. Why is this happening?
Why does she keep looking at me? Why is she talking to me?
What was that noise just then? It's no, I do think she's a little bit like typecast, but Dial of Destiny anyway. It's worth seeing if you like Indiana Jones. That's all I'll say. But
yeah, I can only see this actress being in. If they reboot the Star Wars again, she might have a career in that, maybe in some type of character, but. It'll be Disney related, I'm pretty sure. Because I think she's friends with Kathleen Kennedy, so she'll probably be in another movie, whether it's good or not. I don't know. We'll see.
Mike D is saying that he's watched Suspiria 2018.
It's an okay film. It's very interesting, but it's nowhere as good as the original. What's that sound?
Don't know. It's a child on a scooter or something, I think.
Skateboard.
Nearly 8 p.m. What the hell's going off? The kids are out of control nowadays. So, yeah, I've seen Suspiria 2018. I saw it in the cinema, and I didn't have any issues with it, but it just seemed like they made it really murky and damp and sort of somewhat depressing. Whereas,
Gone were the vibrant lights and colors.
yeah,
That
it
the
was just
original.
the totally alternative, opposite
Yeah,
approach to Argento, where his was sort of
yeah.
pretty
Dreamlike.
operatic, kind of
Yeah, fantasy.
strange,
Yeah, incredible.
and very, very brightly lit. Yeah, often
Hmm.
with amazing colors and things.
Very strong blues, reds, purples. Just shining. Just shines. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I don't really know why anyone would be like ecstatic about Suspiria 2018 personally, other than the fact that they got some kind of thrill out of the woman in it where she's getting her limbs crushed and stuff. But
Mhm.
I mean, that no, we're talking about someone who actually came on into the chat and things,
Oh,
our chat, but on another chat that Jamie was involved in, he called himself Al Suspiria,
oh shit.
and he was a genuine online crazy person, predatory, I would say,
Sure.
because he was, threatening to Jamie and everything. So it was definitely not funny.
No.
But I do remember, like, Davrin, for instance, would just keep going on and on about that without any care
Repercussions.
for
Yeah.
anybody's feelings,
Hmm.
which is a bit. I don't really understand that. It's an insensitivity, which is sort of comes from a bit of a nasty place, really.
Yeah.
Davrin seemed to relish the kind of, well, not the kind of the sort of the pure anguish and unpleasant things, and there are people who are sadistic like that, and I think he's one of those people for sure. So I'm not a sadistic person, like, and when I say that, I mean not in terms of S&M either. So I just made that clear onto everyone.
Okay.
That watches.
Perfect.
Yeah. I can't remember any naked ladies in it specifically. Oh, you mean at the end? But I don't remember that. I mean, aren't they all covered in blood or something? It's not exactly.
Yeah, it's not very. Yeah, it's not titillizing at all. It's just
titillating. Yeah, I mean, it's not scandalizing. It's not anything. It just all feels a bit sort of like old hat, a bit almost like it. I thought that seemed like a TV show extended into a film, really. Like it could have been a 3-episode TV show, because I think it was 3 hours, but they should have just done it as a TV show, and I'd say 6 episodes, 1 hour each.
Yeah,
Like an Suspiria like that, and then you could have extended it to bring in more scenes that did hark back to the Argento film without necessarily just repeating it,
Yeah, like a slight homage.
Yeah, something like that. And I mean, it's got good actresses in it.
Very much, yeah.
It's had like Dakota Fanning, not Dakota Fanning, Dakota.
Or, yeah, I'm bad with names.
I was going to say Dakota Johnson.
Ooh, Jamie might know. Is it one of those? Yeah, because
I can never remember. I'm never a massive fan of hers from the 50 Shades of Grey films, but it's got Chloe Grace Moretz in it as well, hasn't it?
From the original film, right? She makes a cameo?
No. That's Jessica somebody.
Oh, see, I'm terrible with names.
All right. Yeah, well, Jamie's explaining that guy actually called her stepmom a couple of months ago. So that's just ridiculous. Davrin is an unintentional troll. I don't think he knows he's doing it. Yeah, I know that's true for Fenton Cooper, but it doesn't mean that you have to just sort of like
give him a pass,
suck it up and say, okay, he's obviously like disturbed or something. Or he's not disturbed. He's just like a bit dense, really.
It's got to be just where he lives. It's just maybe a cultural thing. He just doesn't get it.
No, it's not. Like he told me a personal thing, which is about as personal as he gets, but it's not very personal, where he had to do a year of school again because he said he became so obsessed with staying at home, watching films, watching horror films and eating fast food or something or snacks. And I was thinking to myself, Okay, but surely when you're at school, you could still do that, but then also get out of that year of school. But he had to repeat a year.
Oh, wow.
And he decried all the other people in his school as like jocks and all this kind of stuff. I'm thinking, what? You're in Slovenia. How many jocks are there?
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's like, I think he basically reads Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Well, someone's got to, I suppose. And only joking, of course. Stephen King is the best person ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes out that he's living in some kind of Midwest American town.
Yeah.
It's just pathetic.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I heard Stranger Things has been delayed to like 2025 or something. A lot of shows are getting all delayed because of the strike and everything.
Yeah, it's because of the Sadie Sink she's going through a stage of like just coming to be a mature actor where a lot of people are claiming that she looks almost astonishingly like Mick Hucknall of the band Simply Red. And
Really? Well,
just trying to get out of that stage and maybe go through a new look or something.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Have you never seen Mick Hucknall?
No.
Oh. Well, good singer. And Mick Hucknall. I'll show you some good. Mick Hucknall's like known for the band Simply Red, basically, and
Okay.
and he's more recently on TV. He's become the neighbor from hell.
Mm.
Probably, imagine if you were living next to Davrin.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was just thinking that. He's peering over your fence. Hello, neighbor. What you doing?
Got any more gossip? Yes.
When's your next fan film coming out? I told you I don't have one. Leave me alone.
Are you going to make a documentary about Cameron making Queen of Hearts? Yeah, how am I going to make a documentary after he's made it?
5 years
Just
after.
interviewing basically everybody in it, saying what was it like making it.
Get all the behind the scenes dirt and stuff. So what was Cameron like as a director? Tell us. Oh my god, this is terrifying.
This is
This is gonna give me nightmares. Well, that looks pretty cool.
Here in the UK, the problem of nightmare neighbours has never been worse.
I was shaking. I was absolutely terrified.
1 in 5 of us has been at war with next door.
Oh, come on.
Well, the next thing I know is Fist is coming through the fence and punching me in the throat.
Are you
What's really
serious?
shocking is the nightmare neighbour being talked about here
not funny.
is Mick Hucknall.
Hey, if that football comes
Okay.
over into my garden again, I'll
No
bust
way.
it with a fucking penknife.
That's actually Sadie Sink.
Married couple Sue and
That's
Tim
so
Sullivan.
mean.
We moved in 2 years ago, and initially it was really exciting living next door to the lead singer of Simply Red.
Yeah. He showed us his gold discs. He even invited us around for a barbecue.
Oh my god.
But then it all changed
the
when
fuck
Tim
am I
decided he
looking
wanted to put a bird table up
got
in
very
our
long
back
arms.
garden.
Well, the next thing I know,
What?
Mick Hucknall sticking his head over the
Face.
fence and screaming at me.
Bleeding bird table's blocking my son in here.
He kept going on about how he needed a tan for his next tour.
How am I going to get up with thin birds if I ain't got a tongue?
It was completely terrifying. These volleys of abuse started to become a daily thing.
Hey, you two pigs have poisoned my ornamental fish pond. Can you turn that fucking radio down? Me and me mate Ronnie Wood are trying to get up with 2 thin birds in here. Yeah. I'm very angry.
Little did the Sullivans know things were about to get a lot worse.
Well, we hadn't heard from Mick for a couple of weeks, so I decided to get the ladder out and do a bit of painting at the front of the house.
Yeah, I was holding the ladder, and at that moment, Mick came back
Taking
from the
a
corner
knock.
shop, saw what Tim was doing, and flew into a rage.
The ladder.
Well, he was convinced I was using his ladder. When I tried to assure him I wasn't, we simply may have bought the same model. It just went for me.
Get up.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the next thing I know is
It's true,
I grabbed
Jamie,
the cover
does
by
it
the
like that?
hair. We're jostling in the flower bed.
It's just a case of mistaken ladder identity.
Yeah, it happened.
Anyone could be in that situation.
Does that really sound like me?
Oh,
Would I
God.
lose my rag over a ladder? You couldn't ask for a more laid-back fella. Hey! Sound man! Stop leaning on me fucking gold discs!
Unfortunately, the Sullivans no longer felt safe in their own home, and a few weeks
Who's the
later
best
put their
like
house
psychopath?
on the market.
Moving was definitely the right thing to do. And initially, we were very, very happy with our new home.
Until we realised our new neighbour was Paul Weller. I'll bring that in and everything.
Oh, come on.
It's a bit of jam, this actually. It's
Oi! Stop going on about the gem! Fuck it over!
Check who their neighbors are first. That was pretty funny, actually.
What's
But he
great
does-
about Mick Hucknall is he's never had to go solo. He's always just been Simply Red. That's it.
Oh my God.
Like his hair.
Is it an actual band? Like, it's a real band? Oh my God.
Yeah, they're very successful. I think even had some success in America, but maybe not to the level of like, you know, U2 or something. I'll just show you this is like a really good video actually in 4K that was filmed in Whitby, which is like a famous location from Dracula and all that.
Ooh.
Good video though. This is actually how I dress generally nowadays.
Just strolling in a graveyard.
You've not heard this song before?
It's sounding familiar.
Holding back the
Cassettes.
Yeah, I think I have.
thinking of the
This is early roll for Sadie Sink.
so long. When somebody
So yeah, this is like his 80s kind of
listen to the
phase.
feel it's gone.
Before his face went up. The mask. Or something. Oh my God.
Well, no, that's not actually him in that. That's a comedy
No, I know.
sketch.
I
So,
know.
please.
It's
But if you listen to this one, this was done after Twin Peaks. Just listen to a lot of bands did this kind of thing around the start of the 90s. Just listen to the start of this song and tell me if it sounds familiar.
I love you.
Show me.
It's that kind of Twin Peaks, like whole song sounds a bit Twin Peaks-ish. Maybe other people don't find that so much, but yeah, that's when he went into his like real funky phase. Massive hits in hit. I mean, this is, you know, that AHA actually took David Lynch to court.
No way, wow.
Yeah, they did. But listen to this song for the start of it, if this sounds familiar to you anyway.
My brain's a bit foggy, but I can still feel something.
Oh, for God's sake!
There's so much you don't know.
I'm going to lose my rag
I was
now.
too scared to tell you the truth.
Hello?
Oh, come on.
Anyway, just
Oh.
listen to the start of this song.
Sorry, that angered me so much.
I mean, that's the exact same notes as Twin Peaks. So yeah, that was.
When you were at Tim Tangles, I was free.
I like those newer songs you were showing me the other day of or from the 2000s. That record, that was good.
Well,
That was
that one
really
is 1994. That was a good track for sure.
Mhm.
Shapes that go together. I would recommend to go 1993 onwards, really. Like 1993 is when they did their Memorial Beach album. And that was really the songwriter, Paul, his kind of direction with the band. And
Mhm.
he wanted to carry on in that direction, but instead they just took a break of 7 years. 1993 one, though, is very rocky, I would say.
Mhm. It's amazing,
then,
like
you
a
know.
band like that could reinvent themselves. You know, have different sounds, but still keep their sound.
Well, they were always like
that
had
was
a
really cool.
obsession with the Doors and things like that from the outset. But the thing is, in the 80s, there just wasn't sort of like an opening for every band to say, okay, we're Echo and the Bunnymen.
Mm.
Like Paul from Aha thinks if they'd done that originally, you know, they wouldn't have had all the kind of hassle. But in a way, really, now they've made peace with the fact that, you know, Take On Me basically just promotes them now to the point where, you know, it's got over 1 billion views and things. So,
Wow.
I mean, but for a while, obviously, they kind of felt like they were just poster boys, you know, and coming out of that synth era and everything. But by 1990, they did another album, East of the Sun, West of the Moon. And, you know, that was more, some people would say it's soft rock, but it's a really good album. And, you know, in 1991, they actually played to the biggest paying audience in the history of the world.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Something like 192,000 paying in Brazil. And it was never, basically MTV just chose to leave El Har out of any of the reports because they weren't taken seriously as a band, you know.
So, that's bullshit.
And that's how I discovered the band from about 93, because I had a Twin Peaks pen pal, this Jane from Scotland, and she sent me stuff by Aha on a kind of compilation tape. Because she sent me a picture of her room, which had a lot of basically Twin Peaks posters, but there was an Aha one. I commented on it saying, you know, I always thought that they were kind of a 80s, you know, whatever band, but and now I heard this new album and I was like, oh, blimey, this is like really good. I love it, you know. So from that 1993 album, Memorial Beach, that's where I highly recommend looking.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, that one the 2000 Minor Earth, Major Sky, that was like their big comeback. And when they started becoming so-called respected and all that kind of stuff, but which is kind of meaningless. But I mean, it's more commercialized in a way, that album, but it's got some good songs on it. Whereas the Memorial Beach album is more, I see it as more like, you know, an honest portrayal of the band. They recorded it in Paisley Park. And
if I could just if I could respond to
Princess Studios.
If I could respond to Voltaire there, Voltaire, I heard that you were the one that drove off Crystal Bell from Twitter. I don't know. You got to clear that up, my friend. You should come on the show and tell us.
Well, I don't know if Voltaire actually wants to tell us. That's the trouble. Because he's very hush-hush about this kind of thing. So. But what I said earlier was true.
That was a lie. Okay. All right, I'll take your word.
No, it wasn't. It was. I actually reported him when he was.
Lies all lies.
Because I reported him to Crystal Bell and said this man has to be stopped by all means. And she said, I actually enjoy it. As in, I wait with bated breath for the messages. And she's.
Really?
You know, yeah, so please do come on, Voltaire, just even if it's only for 5 minutes, just to clear this matter up. You know, I think if you come on for 5 minutes, that'll probably get us at least 7 more viewers. So,
you're just chasing
think about that. Try and put that into your head, like the impact. Like that's how probably Taylor Swift looks at when she's promoting her album. She goes, you know, if I do this, I'll get 7 more purchasers of my album.
See, I don't think Voltaire will come on because I heard he's a huge fan of the new Indiana Jones film, and then he heard me going off on it, and that was it. You know, he's like, fuck this.
Well, no, I'm a huge fan of it, but no, he's not even seen it.
Oh,
he doesn't want to go to the cinema because he says, I don't mix with those animals.
Oh, he went to an afternoon matinee, my friend. I can tell you. There's some pictures from TMZ showing that.
What? So you're saying he makes out that he goes to the cinema and then doesn't, or does? Sorry,
and then does, yeah. Just to throw.
Says, "Oh, I don't go,"
but then does. And see, until he clears that up, we'll never know. And that just becomes another rumor.
Sounds like complete bullshit, to be honest. You can't trust Voltaire. Basically, he's
okay.
He's actually one of the. I mean, there are many reasons, but Josh left the chat recently, but then I put him back in.
Yeah, you forced him back in. You're like, get over here.
No, he was fine with it. He said, that's all right. I'm just at a break because I kept getting all these messages about all sorts of bullshit. Hello, Voltaire.
Hey, Voltaire, my friend.
Hi and hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Well, many people have been wondering, is Voltaire going to come on?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that like the old ways, but
Welcome.
you know, yeah. Hi, there's no animosity. There's nothing like that going on, everybody. And Phantom Cooper, I'm sorry that you feel betrayed, my love. My sweet little 18-year-old girl.
17.
No, she turned 18.
Oh.
She's confirmed that. I've just come on to say that that's bullshit. Christabel never banned me. She liked my post. She responded to my post. She laughed at my jokes. Now, there were many cucks in the comments, many cucks and idiots in the comments who tried to get me banned and said, oh, how could you? She loved them. And Cameron himself came on this show one time and said, if Christabel didn't like that stuff, she would have banned me. And that's true. Cameron's correct. She never banned me. I never said anything inappropriate to her. I just commented on her sexy pics, giving her the attention she loves and deserves.
I quite frankly remember a lot of, oh, your ass looks great today, and this and that.
Well, she would when she puts up pictures featuring her ass. She works hard at that ass. That
and I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I give her the compliments that she craves. She craves them. That's all.
Well, you did get banned.
Thank you, Jamie. I did not get banned. That's fake news. I don't know where you got that.
Oh, so you were just not posting on there then?
She stopped posting, so I stopped posting. What am I supposed to do? If she posts again, I will comment on her. Now, what you're referencing is a bunch of cucks on her page made comments to me like, "That's gross," or "You're terrible. Somebody should ban him. He's awful." But that never happened.
I said that.
Yes, I think you would thumbs up those kinds of comments.
Oh my god!
No, I said actually, I said, dear Christabel, if you need any help in dealing with Voltaire, I will help. Because I'm now planning another trip to Manchester to stay on a boat, a canal boat.
And not talk to you and stay 20, 30
No, I
feet
would
away
talk
from
to
you
him this
in
time.
fear.
And I would actually say, hello, I am a regular visitor on your forum and I am here to protect you from predators.
See, Jamie gets it. Jamie's a lady, an attractive lady, and she gets it. And Jamie knows that if she posted some of the pictures like Christabel does, featuring her ass, somebody's going to say something nice about her ass, and it's going to make her smile.
Yeah, I'd be the first to comment.
Not only ass, whole curves. And you were making comments about her jugs and things like that.
Yeah, but only when she was featured, and it was never anything out of line, ever. And she loved it.
You were saying stuff like, I wouldn't mind milking those udders.
No, I never said anything like that. That's not creative or
whilst I'm at it, I may as well.
So there was more to it.
Yeah. Like Finchy, sort of like, whilst you're down there, love.
Well, you're down there.
Kind of sort of romantic, but I thought not misplaced. I mean, misplaced, really. I think Christabel is more of a romantic, having watched her from about 20 yards away. And I could feel like that she wanted me to say something, but I didn't. And I certainly wouldn't go up to her and start, saying, oh, you've got a nice ass. That's just, it's not good. Like the first thing you say to a woman hi, you've got a nice ass.
Sometimes they like that.
No, of course not. You don't say it like that. But if she she posted a photo of herself on stage squatting from the back. That was the picture on her page. You can go to it. It's still up there. Don't tell me this is not to show off that fucking...
Was that the one where she was in some woods, actually?
No, she's
shitting on
stage. No, she was not shitting.
Sorry, that was one I saw.
She wouldn't do that. She's a classy lady. So don't tell me she didn't post that picture on her own page because she thought her ass looked fantastic. And it did. It looked terrific. And, I've been doing some stuff, everybody, when you're not feeling up to yourself, try doing what you can. And, I did the usual things I usually do. Diet and exercise, and those weren't working and that kind of thing. So I just started doing some more. And so I actually did mix with the animals, and I've been to the theater twice this past 8 weeks. Twice, which is a record for me in recent years. Now, I was talked into it.
To see the Red Door?
No. I saw The Flash, and a lady forced me to take her to Indiana Jones, compelled me.
Oh, I'm glad you saw it. Can you give
me
just
get some water? I'll be back.
Oh, can I hear your
I saw
review?
both films in the theaters.
Can you do the Indiana Jones one, my friend? I would love to hear your review on that.
Well, yeah, we can do that. I'll do the Flash first, so truthfully.
Okay.
Right. Correct, Phantom Cooper. You don't just go up to a woman and tell her they have a nice ass. Absolutely not. No, that's inappropriate. You don't say, "Oh, hey, baby, nice ass," when you're in the grocery store. That's creepo shit. Now, somebody posts on their social media, bikini Sean, you say, "Damn, girl, you look fantastic." Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Or you give a backhanded
drooly
compliment. Well, that seemed better.
Yeah, you could do that. That's rude. But, you know,
it works surprisingly well sometimes.
Come on. And then Christabel's a woman in her 40s. She works hard at that ass. Yeah, she's not young. She works hard at that ass. She doesn't eat. She starves herself and she exercises. And I know she starves herself. She won't even. I remember one time there was a clip with her and David Lynch, and she goes, "Oh, you smell like chocolate." He goes, "Oh, would you like?" She goes, No, I can't have any of that."
Wow.
Because she won't eat sugar. The woman starves herself and works out to maintain that figure. So she deserves those compliments. And if anything, I think it's rude not to compliment her. Now, there are cucks online who say, "Oh, that's terrible. You're harassing her." Get the fuck out of here. She'd ban me if I was harassing her. But I never say anything harassing like, "Oh, I'm coming to where you are." Blah, blah. Nothing like that. You know? It's not weird, Phantom Cooper. If you post pictures of your ass and somebody compliments your ass, it's not like I say, "Oh, I want to put it in that ass." I just say, "Damn," you know, or I make little funny jokes like, or post a thing of a peach. You know, I mean, what do you want? She's featuring pictures of her ass. She's opened the door to featuring her ass. I don't buy into that whole thing where a girl, just because I posted a picture of my jugs in a micro bikini doesn't mean you can say something. No, that's not how it works. You know?
James is pleasuring himself or something.
So the Flash, I don't know why the Flash is not doing well. I think it's because Ezra Miller is a creep.
Yeah.
People still think he's a creep, even though he was cleared of a lot of the charges.
There's too much film on the internet. Too many that arrest he had where he was like,
too many arrests where he's telling him not to touch his dick and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. And those cops were surprisingly nice and.
Because the movie is not bad. There is nothing woke in the movie.
I love the Batman parts. They're excellent.
The CGI is cringe. I don't believe Muschietti when he says it was supposed to be cringe.
I agree.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
But you know, they had budgetary issues, and because of Ezra, they kept whatchamacallit. They kept reshooting and having to do stuff and pushing this movie. But you know, it's like a 7.2. You know, and there's no reason for it to be so bad that people aren't seeing it. But people are not seeing it. The only thing I can think of is Ezra, and he's such a creepo, and he is a fucking creep. And you'll never see him in another movie, no matter what they say.
Well,
another DC movie.
In terms of the Flash, I'd forgot I'd even seen it.
Okay.
And I will also say that I appreciate the director saying, "I did not make this film. It was all made by AI." I would give the film more like 5 out of 10.
Yeah,
AI.
Yes. Or possibly less, actually. But I enjoyed the cinema experience of it, but it felt like it was almost playing with me. And, you know, my buns were really kind of sore by the end of it. I was just like, this is more than a man can take in the cinema.
The CG was bad, and the Christopher Reeve stuff was creepy to me for some reason.
I agree.
I thought the Nicolas Cage thing was kind of cool, to be honest with you.
I actually found those parts quite heartwarming with, especially when we saw Helen Slater of Supergirl. That really made the film for me. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah,
that film is Supergirl was one of the greatest films of the 80s, probably.
Easily.
I mean, everyone disagreed with me on that. I had a massive poster of it on my, you know. So why have you got that poster on your wall? Are you gay? I said, no, I'm not gay. I just like Supergirl, all right.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, wait for it. When it comes out on some streaming service you already have, Mike. It's worth a watch on streaming. But you're right, it has nothing to do with the new DC franchises, and that's another reason people are saying why it didn't do well. I don't know.
It feels like a hallucinogenic experience watching most of it, because it goes from these scenes which seem fairly much set in reality to just like repeated visits to that kind of.
It's a movie that was in development.
Kaleidoscopic business. And it's like, okay, the first time I saw it, I quite liked it.
Yeah.
I don't need to keep having that scene repeated throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
They took this was a different kind of DC comic film. They took like elements of like Guardians of the Galaxy and
Mhm.
comedy stuff, Thor Ragnarok, and just tried to add it in there. Like they even he has a just like Thor had in one of those movies. He had a bunch of crazy roommates he lived with. Let's have some
Mhm.
jokes with the crazy roommates. I mean, they were kind of funny.
Well, that
Mhm.
that bit could have been like half an hour added to the film if they
It
do a
would have been
director's
better than
cut,
some of
because
it.
they were barely in it. It's like, what is the point
Yeah.
of this?
Yeah.
It's just
A couple of
it
jokes
just-
and we're
I
out.
commented on that when I watched it, and I was like, I don't mean to nobody in particular. I mean, when I did this show, I didn't just start talking to myself on the way home. But
He just starts to
it did feel like that was what was happening when I was watching the film, because it was just so all over the place. For instance,
Yeah.
you know, it's got like Batman in it,
which
in
is why I
different
went to see it.
versions, but there's no real point to why he keeps appearing in different guises. And then at the end, George Clooney just appears.
I lost
randomly.
my shit in the theater. I went, "What the fuck?" I yelled out.
Well, you soiled
Yeah.
yourself.
I
Whatever.
swear to the theater. I was so,
I mean,
No, I didn't think whatever. I thought I actually stood up and cheered at that bit.
oh
and I
my
was like-
god!
I
one of
stood
the worst
up,
Batman ever.
I know.
cheered.
I'm like, get the fuck off my screen.
I fist
It was
pumped.
whatever. It's kind of
I
funny.
fist pumped the air.
So well,
won't have
okay. So simultaneously, your fist
I mean, this
open
film was
there.
everything.
and
I
I'm
wanted
cursing
it
that.
to-
You know, they Spider-Man did this multiverse character thing
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
that No Way Home or whatever, which one it was. And now they're trying to copy it. Then they added some Thor Ragnarok elements. You can tell the movie was reshot many times.
Oh my god!
There just
yeah.
seems to be some weird editing in it, which I can't blame him. I mean, Ezra's a creepo and he messed
Mhm.
everybody up. And I was happy to see Affleck again. I think he was good. The Wonder Woman scene was nice too. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So whatever. It is what it is. It's like a 7. Go see the. You don't have to go to the theaters. Wait for it on streaming. It's well worth a streaming watch. Stupid popcorn movie you don't have to think about. But yeah,
just
there's some
enjoy.
bad fucking CGI.
Does this remind you of
I
Christabel?
hope they clean it up in post, like before they re-release it. You know, clean it up a bit or something. What, her buns? I don't know what you're trying to.
Also, you're looking at the image now.
I see it.
You've got them turned on. That's why it's
I
getting
mean, maybe
quiet.
that's what she'll look like in 20 years. That's not a really good
Oh my
representation at all. Those look like really homeless peaches that you have there.
Yeah, those look like terrible.
They're called flat peaches.
Compared to Georgian peaches or something. Like
Shit peaches.
What am I looking at there?
Good,
Yeah.
good peaches.
And I think
Red-
it'll be
red
on.
raw and ripe for entry.
Yeah, it should be streaming on Max. I would say in another 3 weeks max. I mean, they're not even.
What, Christabel's ass?
I wish.
That would
No,
be- in
although I'm sure
IMAX.
that there are videos of that somewhere.
I heard her ass was streaming when you finished with it.
No, I never had a chance.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Wow.
Sorry, that must have been a dream I had when I was on a
Wow.
boat in Manchester.
Yeah, there was some desperation with that film, Phantom Cooper. They had it in production for a long time and different writers.
All I can
and
say
all
is I saw Ezra Miller in that film, and I'm just really looking forward to many great films from him because he was
he's done. He's done.
impressive. What?
I think he'll be back in about
What?
5 years. But like
he's
you said,
gonna
from a
he's gonna
different
need to do
studio.
a couple of shit independent movies because
Yeah,
he isn't
exactly.
a bad or it or they are not a bad actor.
Yeah, but it's like,
Whatever they-
have you ever seen that film? We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Yeah, people love it. I don't
It's like
think
from
it's
the off, they knew that there was something a bit off about him. So
Yeah.
it's like that's why he was casting that, where he
and he's
ends
not
up
good in
going
those
to
Harry
school
Potter
and-
movies, in my opinion.
Yeah, you almost
Well, I haven't
forget
watched
that
those,
he's in-
but
Oh,
his
you're
first
talking about
proper
the
film,
newer
he
ones. Yeah.
he takes a bow and arrow to school and shoots the bows and arrows at people.
my
Then
God.
also kills his dad and his brother,
What the fuck?
but not his mum, who's because he recognised her as being similar to him, played by what's her name? That the woman who was in Suspiria. Can I
Oh.
forget her name now?
Dakota or something? It's in the chat.
No, the
Oh,
is her name Thandy something? Or
yeah, I'm bad with names.
yeah. Anyway, I mean, he was in that, and he played obviously someone who had a few problems, and to say the least. But what exactly has he done? I've seen a clip where he basically grabs a fan and he sort of like
That's one of the
throws
first
her
ones,
onto
yeah.
the floor.
That's one. He was
Surely that's a normal.
he
way
was
to interact
chatting with a
fans, right?
16-year-old fan, and then he was chatting with a 16-year-old fan. But then when she turned 18, they started hanging out. So he didn't do anything illegal with that. He broke into somebody's house and stole a bottle of wine.
That's completely normal.
He got into a
To
fight.
wait for a fan
at a
to
bar.
Just grooming. It's completely normal.
They call it grooming, but she's 18, so they didn't do anything.
on her 18th birthday. Hi.
Hi. How you
Well, they
doing?
tried to say his
Right at 12
I
o'clock.
think that was a money grab by the parents.
I'm an actor.
Hmm.
But yeah,
You may
HBO Max
have seen
is,
me in The Flash and the other.
yeah, HBO Max is better than HBO Plus, Mike. It's got a lot of content on there. It's got all the Discovery Channel stuff too. So you know what I mean. It's a decent.
Right
value.
now, the best bang for your buck is Disney Plus because it has everything on there.
The new Brit Marling show is coming.
And the fact that I was telling James, you can have 4 different people using the same account simultaneously.
What is there to watch on Disney Plus? I mean, for James in
But
the
everything.
UK, that includes Hulu. But here, what does it? I mean, does it include Hulu in Canada?
Okay, like for example, like I
FX
like
shows.
something about Mary and movies like that are all on there.
No,
for
but
some
that's a
reason.
Canadian version, and the UK
Mhm.
version in America, Disney
see.
Plus only is Disney stuff for
Really?
the most part. Yeah, all
Yeah,
that stuff
all
you're
the-
talking about,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
on Hulu. What you're talking, all those
Oh.
FX shows and all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
Hulu movies,
yeah.
like the Predator Prey movie,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
on Hulu. That's a separate streaming service. In America,
Oh.
Disney Plus is not the value it is for
I
other
see.
places.
Okay, right here in Canada, it seems to be because it's literally has
Right.
everything on there.
Right,
Well,
right.
Malcolm in the Middle, I can watch whatever.
Yeah, but Mike is a good American man. He's not going to be getting the same. But in my opinion, I think HBO might be the better value for you as a
you
streaming
can use what are those UPNs or the
VPNs.
VPN? Sorry, yeah, you
Right.
can if you want. Yeah.
UPS.
I don't know what I used to.
And the Indiana Jones movie, it's
Here we go.
it's funny when you watch the movie. There is the skeleton or the foundation for a good
Please,
film.
It's happening.
say in my opinion prior to the. Or...
No, it's objectively true. There is a foundation or a skeleton for a good movie. There's some good things in the movie. It's got like 27 chase scenes if you're into that, so that's good, right? Yeah. That first scene is nice.
37, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. And some of the CGI de-aging.
Well, really, the whole film is one prolonged chase.
It's a lot. It's a lot. There's some. The underwater scene is of zero value. I don't know.
I
why
thought that was
in
actually
there.
one of the best scenes.
Did you? Yeah. Okay. They could have
I was
just been
like-
on the boat, showed them going under, then showed them come back up, and the Nazis are on the boat. But I guess they wanted him fighting those eels.
What was that other
down
than
there.
just a nod to Jaws?
And because he doesn't like snakes, so they're trying to bring that whole thing back. They're
Yeah.
underwater, they look like snakes.
Well, that's
no,
the
they
logical
don't.
way to do it. Yeah.
The biggest problem with his storyline is they just copy and pasted Han Solo's. You know, he's a depressed old man.
Yeah.
He lost his child.
He
He's
is an
getting
old
caught-
man.
He's getting apprenticed now by a better British girl. It's the same thing.
She's annoying, and I liked Flea Bottom. That show was not bad.
Is it
but-
Fleabag?
Fleabag.
Whatever, Fleabag, Flea Bottom. You know,
Flea ass.
she's not bad for everybody who wants to watch that. It's like an English version of Sex in the City. She just has
Mhm.
a lot of sex, and she's funny in it.
But you
know,
don't see any nudity in it.
there's no skin in it. No, and she has a whole season where she seduces a Catholic priest. That's second season, so that's really enjoyable. Anyway,
No, it is actually.
the first season is good. I like the
I
first
actually
season.
found the second season quite moving.
I almost believed you for a second.
Yeah, I mean, but
It's moving.
she's not good. She's 115 pounds and she kicks so much
115
ass in
pounds,
that.
For God's sake.
What is she? 120 pounds? What do you think she weighs?
She might be, yeah. She's
She's a
130,
very
'cause
thin
she's quite
woman.
tall.
skin and bones.
Yeah, but she is tall.
Yeah, she's not 130.
She's actually
Uh,
got very oversized ass.
I don't think she has any.
that's-
So
ass.
they use
hidden by the
CGI.
trailer.
They use CGI to make it smaller, right? In the movie.
Well,
She
I'm looking at her
kicks.
weight now.
She kicks so much ass. She beats men up. She elbows men. There's a scene where she's hanging from a helicopter or a plane. She's hanging herself, holding herself up, and some guy is hanging off of her. So she's supporting
Okay.
her weight and
Mhm.
this adult man's weight because she's super strong. Everybody,
Mhm.
it's just
That one
mean,
pulled
I
her- that one pulled her shoulders
132
on her.
pounds.
Wow.
she's 132. I don't believe that. That's reported online that she's 132.
But she is 5 feet 9.5 inches, so that's pretty light for
I
her
thought she
that
was in the
tall.
6 feet. My God, she looks.
No,
How
she
tall
looks
is
like
Indy?
No,
I'm
I don't think Harrison Ford is that tall, really.
Oh, he's at least 6'2", I would say.
No,
yeah, but
no,
she's taller
that'd be
than
ridiculous.
him. Isn't she taller than him in the movie?
I don't think so.
But she's wearing high heels most of the time.
Oh yeah.
You know, she tries to kill him at the beginning of the film.
I know that angered me so much. I'm like, what?
There's a lot of murder in this film. I don't remember that much murder and death in Indiana Jones films, which I don't
But
care.
it was a
Fine.
weird tone murder because you
Like-
have people killing. And by the end of it, it doesn't get resolved because when Indy's back in his house at the end, he's still wanted for murder, right?
Yeah,
It's
that
not
they didn't
resolved.
solve. They just throw that away. And then that poor lady at his work at the university, she's just walking. Oh, hey, what's all this? Boom! They shoot her in the head. Like there's a lot of murder in the movie, but I don't know. There was
Yeah, but
again.
with no blood, really. There's hardly any blood shown.
I just don't
James made
remember
that
that much.
point.
A little
killing in
bit,
these
but-
movies.
in Rage of the Lost Ark, they did have quite a lot of bloodletting, which I think is they should have put a bit more blood in just to give it a bit more realism.
There is a sense of danger. There is no sense of what I should say is there's a lack of sense of danger. Like you always feel like these characters are going to get out of these predicaments. You know?
And how did that big guy die? The kid just got him drowned in that aqueduct.
He tied him to. Didn't he tie him under? You talking about the water scene or something? He tied him.
He handcuffed him to the.
I just felt like that was kind of anticlimactic.
Well, they tried to set up that he was a pickpocket. Yeah, like a pickpocket.
You really wanted to see him pounding his ass.
I thought so. I thought they were going to try to do something like backing into the propeller.
The propeller, yeah.
Like
every
that.
movie they've done.
No, the film just wasn't. I would say
you're right.
The only thing is the film isn't violent enough because there are scenes where it just completely beggars belief in terms of, like, for instance, a horse going underneath, a subway into the actual underground train, and then. I mean, I didn't mind the scene. It's not like it kind of bothered me in any way. I thought it was ridiculous, but it like Johnny says, it just has no sense of urgency or kind of danger.
Yeah, I saw that in the trailer and it looked so stupid, but it actually came out better in the film, truthfully.
Well, I sat at the front, like I was saying to yesterday. I actually, during this one, I lay down on the floor. In front of the screen, it gave me the ultimate experience. Really,
that's great.
And no, I mean, one person did come along and thought that I'd had like some kind of
too much
fit or something. Yeah, and I said the only fit I'm having is how good this film is.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge got me in a real state over here, and you're going to see Phoebe Waller-Bridge. In an Indiana Jones type TV show or movie on Disney Plus coming soon, everybody. That's going to happen.
Yeah, but if it's not got Harrison Ford in, why would anyone watch it? I mean,
well, because why not? I mean, people. I mean, they don't care. They want to do.
I don't think that's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Trust me.
They're going to try it, but
it would have to be a lot better, like bringing in people like Short Round and having some cameo from.
Sure, they'll do all that. These Disney Plus shows try to bring.
She's not a character you can have like a whole series just centered on her.
They wanted to, but
far more likable. Or something.
Trust me, they've already announced that they want to. And in an interview recently, she goes, "Oh, there's some things happening, but I can't really talk about it."
But I think it was based on
her.
It won't be centered on her.
But it was based on
something else.
It was based on the success of this movie, and because it's not doing financially well, I don't think she'll be.
She doesn't care. She doesn't care.
Well, you know what everyone's pointing out now? Every one of these characters in these Disney movies are Kathleen Kennedy insert characters. They're like her as a character in, you know what I mean? Like she's writing herself.
So whatever, they're going to make it. Yeah, I agree with you. It's true. She does that, but this is coming as a TV show, and I do believe that the rumors about the reshoots and Mangold got mad at them. That there was going to be a scene where Indy dies and she picks up the hat and whip. And they just changed it to the end of the film the way they did, where she just walks out, puts that regular hat on, and walks away. That was going to be she puts a brown hat on. I guarantee that was shot, and that is sitting somewhere.
Yeah.
But Mangold denied it and said, no, we wouldn't do that. Well, you basically did. The guy was trying to. Why did she take him back from ancient Greece? He was trying to die over there, and she punches him out and takes him back.
And just think, there's two things: the logistics of that, because he would have to stay knocked out from there into the plane, back into another plane, then brought to his house. He's still knocked out. This is like a week later, so that's one thing you can look at.
I mean,
but the idea, even if he stayed,
forgive the logistics. I just don't understand the intent of the character.
But even if he stayed, it would have been okay. It actually would have been a fitting end to his character, because they even preluded with the hieroglyphs that the guy had to watch. There was even some hieroglyphs of them going there with the planes and stuff. So you could have still had him stay behind. It would have been okay. He wouldn't have changed anything.
I did like that sequence when they went back to the ancient Greece. I thought that was pretty cool, actually. That was well done.
I did actually as well. I said that last week, and then the other two, Johnny and Bean, were like disagreeing with me.
Oh, really? You didn't like that, Johnny?
Well, I thought they jumped the shark when someone went through the hole in the sky into the Back to the Future, basically.
Yeah.
No, I disagree. I felt like jumping the shark would have been if they actually had a vortex, like in Twin Peaks: The Return.
It kind of was.
They just basically flew through a hole in some clouds.
I was thinking they were going to have a vortex.
Said, like,
truthfully,
if this is the case of how the Dial of Destiny works, whatever the other name for it was, surely people would see these holes popping up as they were flying around. And they don't need the Dial of Destiny to tell them. Some people might have just been so curious they would have flown through it.
It's
And
got
then
that whole
ended up in
Bermuda
ancient
Triangle
Greece.
vibe where they just
Well,
happen to
probably
go
people
flying
did, but
and
you
then-
just don't hear about it. The whole point was that those randomly pop up, and then that dial predicts when.
Well,
as it-
Mandela Man goes through one of those weekly, possibly.
Yeah,
He went through it
does.
last night on our show. He just
He does.
went into the void.
Yeah, Mandela Man should love these things like the Flash and all those different dimensions and all
You
that.
would think it's just he wants more of the seriousness. He wants
He
more
Yeah,
of
wants
that-
but
something where-
every Indiana Jones movie has some kind of supernatural element to it, doesn't it? Am I wrong
think-
about that?
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
at the same
right.
time, I think he could have gone really like through some kind of vortex, and then he ends up on or in Uranus, and that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's your basic logic thing of like if if time travel exists, we would already know because it would already exist in the future. So what is Archimedes or he created the dial so we could come back to him just to test if it was real. So in real time, he makes the dial, looks up and sees during the war, oh look, it works. Here it comes back to me.
that's awesome. I thought that was really cool.
I think he
It's
should have
cool.
gone into the future and ended up with an aged Elon Musk sitting around going, "Oh,
I've destroyed the world.
my plan
Everything's
has
on
come
fire."
Yeah, that's the other
together."
thing.
Everything's on
I mean,
fire.
the whole thing is that Indiana Jones has proven the existence and the validity of the Bible. Like he has proven it in those movies, so he should be a much happier man and just be a godly guy because he's found the Holy Grail.
He should be a
He's seen
legend.
all the all that.
Well, you
stuff.
do see at the start of this, you see
Yeah.
like a painting of Christ,
Mhm.
some kind of very old, and then you
You're
do
absolutely right on that,
see
actually, yeah.
a few bits and pieces
Oh.
related to sort of the Bible. I think in this,
He's lived this. Yeah.
but
Wow.
but it's not like his job is about proving anything. He just says, "I've seen things."
Well, he always
Similar-
wanted
similar-
to. He always wanted to preserve history. He wanted to. This should not be in a.
Well, he's similar
in a
to
rich
Agent
man's
Cooper, for
mansion.
instance, where he wanted to go back in time, and save Laura Palmer from being
Murdered. Yeah.
molested by Jacques Renault, etc. And it's like, okay,
She consented to that.
Cooper wanted to get his own way with her, basically, and that's sick.
That could have been had easily.
No, but I think, in all seriousness, though, not that.
God,
I think
this conversation
that
is going to rise.
yeah, there is a kind of a masculine aspect. I don't think what you're suggesting happened. The Helena sort of ending, like, because I think they would have known in their heart of hearts that the enthusiasm just wasn't there for this film that was there for the last one, and look how that turned out. So,
But I heard about this ending
know.
that Voltaire's talking about long before this movie came out. when they were
yeah,
doing
but the thing is, how do we know what is fact and what is just
We don't.
half-baked fiction? Because
That's true.
anybody, all these like neckbeards online, they're like, "Oh my god, they've got Helena," and she's like, "Gonna be the new indie," and she's shit. And that's basically that level of thinking, and it's
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing they said about Shia LaBeouf. They wanted Shia LaBeouf to take over these films, but
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't like the character. I didn't like the character. I thought Shia LaBeouf is not very likable.
Well, that's why they said he was in Vietnam and he got his head blown off by Short Round.
Yeah, well, no, and he's hard to, according to Olivia Wilde, he's
That's what was
difficult to work
explicitly
with.
said. Here's
Wait, that-
photographic
that-
evidence of Shia LaBeouf with his head blown off.
That Olivia Wilde film is really good. Everybody, that's
You cheat, Dr.
You-
Jones.
Which one?
Darling, I Love You or whatever. Even though I don't like the
Oh.
messaging in it or the political statements in it, the movie is very well done. I really
saw
do.
that in
Hey,
the cinema,
you
yeah.
agree with all those political statements.
I don't think there was messaging or political statements. It was just, "Don't worry, darling." It's more like a modern version of these old 50s films, and so as long as you weren't expecting like some kind of massive Christopher Nolan labyrinth type thing, it's quite enjoyable. I agree. So
It's very well done. I mean, well, there is messaging. I mean, it's about men who want to control women to the point that they make them into Matrix, like whatever, and then live in a retro age in the
Stepford
60s.
Wives, maybe.
Right. I mean, so there was a political message.
But anyway, let's not spoil that whole film. I mean, I think
Oh, you're
I mean,
ruining
the movie's
it for
been
me.
around for its old movie.
Oh, it's done now. I can't even watch it.
you should try watching it, Johnny. And
Okay.
She's very talented as a director. She does some really good things in that movie. I give her a lot
Florence
of credit.
Pugh is always good, and I know you're a massive fan of Harry Styles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he surprised me in that film.
Yeah, he can.
Voltaire.
He can.
He really but he surprised me. I was like, that guy is good.
I'm surprised.
Florence
When
Pugh
I
is very
actually
sexy
came out of
in
the
it.
cinema and I shouted,
I'm
"Damn, Styles really was good in that film. And then someone high-fived me and said, I know, he was actually.
Or you just came up with a look of astonishment. Someone's like, what's wrong?
I just find
I
Shia
believe.
LaBeouf annoying. Phantom
Yeah.
Cooper. I don't know about any culture war nonsense. Here's Shia LaBeouf, okay?
He comes off as some
in real time.
condescending.
You're only 18, so you don't know this. All of a sudden,
think
I
she's
used to
20,
watch
yeah.
Saturday Night Live back in the day. All of a sudden, there's this hosting Saturday Night Live tonight, Shia LaBeouf. I'm like, who the fuck is Shia LaBeouf?
Is this what turned you
And
off?
why
of
is he hosting Saturday Night Live? I've never heard of this guy. Then he starts in his monologue saying, I'm going to be in the next Indiana Jones movie. I'm like, who? Who is this? Why is he in the Indiana Jones film? And he came out of nowhere. And I just never thought he was very good. And I hate the name Shia. Just, geez, that's annoying. But that's not even got anything to do
You don't
with
like
it.
the LaBeouf part either.
I've seen a couple of movies where he was halfway decent in them, but I didn't
Transformers.
find his. I don't know how the guy got promoted so much. Like, it is really weird. That's an example of if you say like Hollywood connections get things done.
Yeah.
All of a
that was
sudden
it.
he hosted Saturday Night Live. I never heard of him.
But I mean, I agree with you, Volte. You originally said the trouble with Shia is he's too swarthy. And, you know, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I know that's your problem.
No, but he's an actor who looks like he should be working in a kebab shop and not on the screen. Certainly not, you know, in a Transformers film with Megan Fox. That's an outrage. But no, I mean, he is a good actor. But I think in terms of indie films and stuff, like that film American Honey, that's supposed to be very good, for instance. But he plays like these kind of somewhat unsavory characters because I think in reality, I don't know about now, but he was like that.
According
himself.
to Olivia Wilde, he's like that.
Yeah, it's believable because, I mean, just look at some of the things he did where he's like, I am not famous anymore, wearing that bag over his head. And then he also sat in a gallery with saying, you know, you can do anything to me, and people were coming up molesting him, apparently.
No, you cannot divide. That's when people started fucking with him. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but he knew that would happen, and then he starts going, I couldn't believe it. Someone started touching my penis. I felt really offended. And it's like, yeah, but you knew that was going to happen. So obviously the whole thing is just devised to make people feel sympathy for you because, you know, people are touching your dick. In a gallery, and it's like, and then you'll get more film roles as a result of that. Because this is actually something that Phoebe Waller-Bridge did. She appeared in a London gallery and said, "You can do what you want with me." And like,
she just appeared ass back into a hole. Yeah,
that's what I got the role in the Indiana Jones film. It's like the thing with Shia is, it's like he doesn't understand how to be a star, rather than. You know, because he was basically a child actor, wasn't he?
It's
and
all
that's
about
often the
appreciation.
problem.
Some people don't realize what they have until they lost it, and then they go nuts.
No, I think it's more a case of he didn't know how to progress into an adult actor after being a child actor, basically. Because once he lost the
child
cuteness
actors
factor,
get screwed over. Yeah,
you know that Fred. Well, no, but they're cute. Fred Savage was cute. When he becomes an actor, when he becomes older, he's basically shit. So you know, what do you do?
Well,
and then you know, Fred Savage is another one of them. Who, like, you know, touching.
Allegedly,
bits of bodies and stuff. So
Allegedly.
they just
I never heard of that. Well,
it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, on the set of a recent thing.
sure.
Yeah, you know, and I don't like the things people are saying about Phoebe Waller-Bridge that, oh, she's unattractive, she has a big mole, why are they putting her in this? That has nothing to do with anything.
Well, it's because she was written to be the most beautiful woman in the
mole.
movie. That's what.
Well,
makes
whatever it is, people are mocking her for that.
She
That's
wasn't.
wrong.
That's not true. It's not. She wasn't supposed to be the most beautiful woman in the movie.
No, but people say
she's just
that,
the main woman in the movie. That doesn't
I even heard an argument like
she declares herself beautiful in it.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
but you don't have to take that at face value, do you?
Yeah, who cares? I mean, I don't care. I mean, there's other reasons to dislike her, but if that character was played by Megan Fox and they still wrote it the same way, I would still dislike her character.
Just because I was written, I mean? I agree. Yeah, if it was written better, I was telling James that earlier. I'm saying she was slightly written
better. But why should every female character be subservient and kind of likable? That's the thing. I liked the fact that the character was in it.
Yeah,
basically for what she was. I didn't need. She wasn't supposed to be. For instance, like Willie in Temple of Doom, who has a wet top scene showing off her Babylons. I mean, she wasn't supposed to be like the sex symbol sidekick. She's just supposed to be. But I do think that maybe they could have added a bit more to her. If
they made her a little too heartless, because when she laughed after Indy lost his friend on the ship and he got mad, I just lost my best friend, and she's like, "Oh, sorry." There was too much of that callousness she had. Locking him up in the beginning, almost got killed. There was little things that irked people. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. It would be like if Krista Bell was working with Cooper and she kept calling him a dummy and him not being incompetent. It was just I don't know. I didn't care for the character. I agree. Nobody wants subservient. Nobody said that. But whether it was a male or female character who was supposed to be like, the new younger version to help Indiana Jones out, you'd want to see some kind of level of deference. And they wrote it in a way. I don't know why they choose to write things this way.
And the character growth
opposed to
like if you're going to
it was anti-commercial, wasn't it? Yeah. You want a more commercial film, and you didn't get it, so now you're like, what?
But just her, just her arc. Like let's say she started off the way she did, but by the halfway point, not near the end, you started.
But that's a cliche, change. Johnny.
Why? No, but it's an arc. That's a story arc. But that's how you write story arcs.
But it's a cliche.
But it's
Hollywood can't be based around just old cliches and things. But not everybody. Yeah, but the thing is, the film isn't about her character. It's about Indiana Jones, and it's to do with the fact that he's not offered any kind of sympathy in this one for the fact that he is old and stuff, and that's why I found.
Get it, but it's story writing 101. Every character should have an arc and a change and a journey, right? You should start off at
but should they? But should they? Because maybe real life isn't like that. That's the thing. Like Harrison Ford in this film is playing Indy, who's reached basically the end of his life, but everything's basically gone wrong. So we have this essentially wrap-up ending, which
and it's so sad that it has all gone wrong. Why can't he be a legend? Why can't he be living in good? Why does this?
But that's fantasy.
Yeah.
His son died. You could see that. Like people are upset about him being broken.
Yeah,
the guy's son died in Vietnam.
They turned him into Luke Skywalker. They gave him
his wife got well. It's not quite that bad, truthfully. Luke Skywalker gave up. You know what I mean? Indiana Jones, his son died. And his wife left him for some reason because of that. I mean, I don't know why he's so poor.
I dropped the Han Solo thing. Jesus Christ!
I don't know why he's so poor. I mean, the guy is a world famous explorer, and you'd think he'd have a nicer place,
Yeah.
But he's turned
took
to drinking
out of him. I don't know.
For some reason. Yeah,
he's drinking. Yeah, James brought that up yesterday. Yeah, he's drinking.
Whatever. I mean, it's just kind of like. It's supposed to be a big commercial film, and they
I like the ending this way.
What, that he got back with Marion? Sure.
Well, I just like the ending where it showed, the children and the people looking after them, and then, just him left alone in his flat with Marion, and I felt it moving enough, but not overly sentimental. And I think the film's trying to be more like a film of this time, not overly sentimental. Basically, it's Indiana Jones as if it was a new thing now. It's not trying to be a follow-on to any of the other films. Yeah, and I think that's fair enough because
it feels serialized. Yeah, you're right.
Because none of the other films are really serialized. It starts with one film, then it goes to a prequel.
True.
Then the third one feels quite different, I would say, and more about him and his father, really, which I actually at the time found
that's the best one.
I love that.
Well, I actually find that a little bit much at the time.
Really,
I just wasn't kind of into it as much for whatever reason, but
I love that one.
Yeah, and if there hadn't been the fourth one, I think people would have probably met this one more formally, because it would have been like 20 years since, or longer, 30 years.
The fourth one is so bad that, this one was operating from a deficit right off the top.
Really good point.
Because nobody went to see it. Nobody has any desire to see this movie. Now, he's an old character, so there's kids who don't care about him. And then the reputation of the prior movie.
Yeah, he's an octogenarian now.
This film has not had any buzz. It is doing terrible in the box office. And it's a big summer blockbuster. But whatever.
It didn't do as badly as it could have done, though, to be fair.
But I've been hearing the numbers. They had to make like over 500 million just to break even and $1 billion to make something, to make money or something. It's ridiculous.
So they say. But you know what?
It will do in the end, though, when it goes to home viewing and stuff. So
they don't care. They don't care, the studios. This movie was filmed during the pandemic. It was shut down and started up again and all that kind of crap.
Sure.
And they filmed in all these weird countries who give them massive tax write-offs. And, there's rumors that that to get Harrison Ford to do the Star Wars, he made them promise to do an Indiana Jones film. So they kind of had to do this.
Well, at least they didn't film all those bits, on sound stages. It was actually filmed in real places.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good for them for that. Truthfully,
like the fourth one, it was all filmed on sound stages, pretty much.
George Lucas became obsessed with that shit.
Yeah,
he really loved it.
Maybe because you can control a lot more of the environment. You literally have full
Yeah,
control.
but it looks
of it.
absolutely awful.
Yeah.
The movie's like a 5.5 at most, in my opinion. I mean, again,
Passable.
the bones are there for something good, but it just didn't quite deliver. And I don't. It's just the writing was whatever.
I'll give it 6 for the kind
Yeah,
of film it is, for a blockbuster film. It's not anything very deep, you know. It's perhaps, as Johnny's saying, it could have added some depth to the characters, but it seemed more concerned with basically just being one chase sequence after another, really.
Yes,
So,
I agree with that one. Yeah.
And like Shia LaBeouf, she's not likable.
Because she's
That's
written that
me.
way. It's
no, she's deliberately not likable, and I think
Yeah.
maybe
yeah.
the trouble is they have also all these other characters in, and sometimes they're merely in it to be shot dead. Like
Antonio Banderas.
yeah, why is he in it?
I would have liked way more with him if he had been doing these missions with him. That would have been better.
I was actually crying
I
after that
agree.
scene where he was shot whilst lying on the floor.
Yeah, but she was laughing, and then India had to, you know, I love
She
her.
was
And,
laughing.
I got to
Shot
tell you,
dead.
if you're doing anything with
I don't think she was
Nazis,
laughing at the fact that he'd been shot dead.
Well, when they
No,
got
she
away,
was
when
just-
the,
she was-
She was
she
laughing
was like,
nervously,
yeah.
wasn't she?
well, no, she was just not caring, and she was
Yeah.
laughing about something else. And he's
Indiana
like, "You-
scorned her.
That's my friend.
Yeah,
What
he's
are you?
scorned.
What are you laughing about, you bitch? That my friend just got murdered. That's how he talks to the movie.
But you need her in the groin then as well.
Yeah, that
Fucking
was
bitch.
totally-
Here you go.
he
Take
threw
this.
it.
Basically,
Shut your
they-
pie hole.
They just portray her as if she's like a callous guy
Yeah,
almost.
two-dimensional. It's 2D only. You know, nobody's that callous.
Most of the characters in Harrison Ford, in Indiana Jones films like that,
Mhm.
are two-dimensional. So, I mean, look at Willie in the second film. I mean, she honestly was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But people forgive her because she got, in a waterfall with like a see-through top on.
Sure.
I never had anything against her. I thought she had a charm about her. You know,
Charm?
yeah.
The other thing that
She was a fish out of the
I
water.
mean,
'cause
she was
we were
attractive, you mean?
We were experiencing the world
that's
through
charming.
her because I've watched it with women before. I watched it with an old girlfriend, and it's almost like they watched the movie through her eyes because what she's experiencing is almost like they'd be doing the same thing, almost reacting to the snakes and the heat and complaining. And,
What, being a complete twat?
I'm not saying that totally, but I'm just saying it's a relatable character to some. And enjoyable.
If that
to
happened to me with a female, I would immediately say, "Get out."
Yes, she
And
is
also,
very attractive,
I will say,
yes.
Mads Mikkelsen plays a Nazi really well.
Yeah.
The only other person I think plays a Nazi better is who's
What's
the
his
guy
name?
from Inglourious Bastards? What's his
Yeah.
name?
And he was in
What about the one in the first film? Jesus Christ!
Waltz or
Christoph Waltz.
Christoph
Like
Waltz.
I want to see a Nazi film with Christoph Waltz and Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh my god, that's a dream team! Like
Yeah,
like
that would be really
an
good for
enemy dream
Nazis.
team or bad guy dream team.
Yeah. I don't know. So whatever. This is another movie. Don't waste your money in the theaters at all.
Wait for it on Disney.
It's going to be on Disney Plus in a few weeks, and you can watch it then one night and see if you can get through it. It's a long movie for some
Yeah.
reason.
Watch it in 2 parts, I guess.
You know, I mean, it's not good. I mean, it's not as bad as people are making it out to be, but like I said, it's at most a 5.5 at most.
That
There's
ending
just
was so tacked on, but it was so rushed. You could tell it's
Yeah.
the punch, and then all of a sudden it's like, what?
oh, they shot different endings. That
Yeah.
they denied those rumors that different endings were shot, but that's a lie. There was different endings. You can
I
tell.
agree.
The editing is weird.
Mhm.
There's again weird editing that they didn't. That you can makes you think that there was all kinds of things shot, and you will see Phoebe Waller-Bridge doing adventures like this as this archaeologist or whatever the hell. I don't know what they're going to call this show, how they're going to tie it to Indiana Jones, but there will be Phoebe Waller-Bridge with that little kid sidekick, and Short Round will appear, and Lizzo will do an episode, and
I direct. I disagree, but let's move on. I think I was just in the kitchen, and have you ever made jerk chicken? Either of you?
no, that's
Once.
Jamaican, isn't it?
Well,
Once.
I'm not. Yeah, and
Years ago. Yeah.
I put some jerk seasoning, and it was quite close. The jerk seasoning to next to these 2 delicious baps I've got.
Mm.
So I had to move it away in case it, spilled on them or something. And that just made me. I just wanted to ask Jamie, which is your favorite Indiana Jones film? Because we've now got 14 people watching, so I think we should take advantage of it. What do you think, Voltaire, having been away for a while? And let me just say, we have missed you. I mean, I have, because you bring a lot of energy. But
I have
What
been
do you-
talking nonstop shit about you, just to be honest. No, I'm
Fair
just
enough.
kidding. I haven't. No, I haven't.
All right, we're coming. No more. Like, I'm just kidding. Jokes. Let's put those in the past, please.
All right, go ahead.
We're all grown adults here now, well into our 50s. So, okay, let's just concentrate, especially on the video by Mr. C, the progeny of Cameron Cloutier. He came out as well. World of Real actually said that Cameron or Mr. C, his son, were friends with Lynch, and he made a video saying, David Lynch is back, baby, and all this. Did you see it, Voltaire?
No, but I heard about it. But I
Okay,
haven't had a
well,
chance to watch it. I'm embarrassed to.
Well, we'll have to watch it then, because the fact that Mr. C, who I remember there was a video, and somebody said that he looked like Michael Janderson for some reason. I don't know why, but
yeah, Mandela Man loved the fourth Indiana Jones movie. He loved the whole mutt concept. He liked the Shia LaBeouf character.
Yeah, he wanted the spin-off with him.
Mr. C on Lake McDonald and East Glacier National Park. Do you know of that, anybody?
Lake McDonald? No.
That's where old McDonald lives.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. Yeah, breaking news, David Lynch is back, baby. So, are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank you for coming back on. I appreciate it, Voltaire. And this is here as a present for you.
Well, the pleasure is all yours, I'm sure.
So, well, I didn't make it, but this is a video.
Switch to Vodafone. Reliable broadband without the price tag.
Hey, everybody. This is Mr. C. I have some breaking news. Filmmaker David Lynch is officially getting ready to start his next project. I have confirmation from somebody who knows David Lynch and has known him for over 40 years. David Lynch is getting everything ready to start shooting as soon as the strikes are finished. Oh, wow. I have no idea if this is a film or a TV series, but David Lynch is coming back, baby. This is not a joke.
It's not a joke.
Very serious. I'm not kidding. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for watching.
So he's actually taking over the channel by the looks of things.
Yeah, he's a scooper. All right, good for him. Well done, Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, so what do you reckon to that then? Do you think
what the Cameron's having his son is a scooper, Hollywood Insider? I think that's great.
Well, he's actually a friend of David Lynch's.
A friend of somebody who's a friend knows David Lynch. What do I don't know.
His 5-year-old son has actually been to Lynch's compound and has got the intel, basically.
Cool.
That Lynch is basically filming some of the contents of his boxes. That's all I've heard. And he's basically switched off all his phones and faxes, cassette players, etc. Because he doesn't want. This is serious, though. I'm not joking. He doesn't want any kind of interference.
Why the secrecy?
I suppose because it's probably his age. He's gone a bit, like I don't want any distractions.
Mm-hmm. If it's true, I mean, I don't know. The broad who was in West Hollywood and sent that Instagram post. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Streets blocked off because of David Lynch filming something. I mean, could that be true? I suppose that could be true.
No, that was a restaurant. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it could be.
That could be true, but at the same time, the fact that she deleted her tweet would suggest that either somebody contacted her and said, "Can you take the tweet down, please?"
But she was just a nobody enjoying lunch. Who's going to contact her?
She's not a nobody because she's got quite a lot of followers. For instance, if you go to Instagram or Facebook, and she's a digital creator, which many, many people now are. But more importantly,
digital creator.
Well, it means with her, she's also like a speaker and stuff like this. But her boyfriend used to work, for instance, for DreamWorks. So she is involved somewhat in the Hollywood world.
Okay.
She's not like obviously known per se, But yeah, you know,
that of all the bullshit stuff that's come out over the last few years, that guy who said something was going to be revealed at cons and all that kind of thing, this one seems a little more credible to me than the past stuff, truthfully.
Yeah.
That somebody said he was filming because, you know, he might be filming, and if people find out, hey, who's filming, you know, I didn't, you know, that seemed credible to me. Filming in West Hollywood sounds bananas to me. It's a very crowded Hollywood place. You know what I mean? It's not like discreet.
That restaurant isn't though so much.
The area is just like a real hipster place. Hipsters and gays. That's what it's known for. It's the gay part of LA. Very nice. Much cleaner than the rest of Los Angeles, truthfully. Well, that's true.
Well, I don't think Lynch is actually making a gay film all of a sudden, but
well, he's filming in a gay area.
If that's what you're
saying.
inferring.
Yeah, no, I'm not implying anything or inferring that it's a gay film. I'm just saying but it would make sense if he wants to film nice Hollywood. There's not that many nice parts anymore.
I don't know if you heard about this, but Scott Ryan was seen in West Hollywood this year.
Yeah, he'd love that. I mean, there's
nothing related to this though. There's many people in an area. That doesn't mean that they're involved in David Lynch's filming something on a camcorder or whatever, does it?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, Scott Ryan is basically the author of many books, including one on Barbra Streisand, who is known as a artist that many people, you know, like, whether they're gay, straight, bi.
Yeah, I feel like that looks like 15, 20 years too late.
And bisexual. Well, Cameron said that basically he was using all of these copyrighted pictures right throughout it. So he doesn't know. So the fact that he's getting it published through some Chinese publisher or something seems a bit suspect.
Chinese don't give a fuck about our laws.
Well, I don't know how much investigation there is into like pictures of Barbra Streisand can be used or not, but you know, he's a good author for sure. I've read his book called Your Laura Disappeared about Twin Peaks Firewall with me, but you know.
So is that a joke or is Cameron serious about this thing? Like he actually has a source?
No, he does have a source because he's done another video that you can see on the far left that's still
clarifying.
I mean, obviously, we're not going to watch 53 minutes of Cameron talking about it, but
unless
you want to.
No, I don't. But
I know
if
Johnny
was on, I would cross-ex him on the whole.
Johnny,
thing.
do you want to watch a 53-minute video?
It's a little too long.
I'm sure it's good. Cameron, you know, does a good job. But I mean, I'm curious. I'm sure sources he feels are valid. You know, I mean, it's viable, I suppose. I just don't know why David Lynch has to keep everything in secret. I don't want anyone to know I'm filming. Okay, it's got to be secret.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Harry Goaz not long ago, a couple of months ago, posted a picture of Wisteria after a long time and nobody posted anything to do with that. Then there was this rumor that just popped up about the restaurant. Then others said it's not true. Lynch is filming nothing, for instance, including Martha Nockimson, the critic and, film sort of scholar, really, I suppose. But she's really good. You know, I'm looking forward to her next book. But I was just thinking to myself, why of all people does she have to come out and say that Lynch is filming anything? Or does she have like a red hot telephone burning all the time saying, with Lynch ringing up saying, tell him I'm not doing anything, all right? You know, and she's like from Texas, apparently, as one of the places I was mentioning at the start of this video. But yeah, it just seems like, and I was making jokes in messages to her saying, I can see you've got your crystal ball there. Like I was relating it to the Charlie and Audrey scene in The Return. And she was like, STFU, you know, I haven't got a crystal ball, all right. And I was like,
shut the fuck up.
I was like, what the hell are you? No, she wrote it in STFU. She said that. And then she put
shut the fuck up.
She put a picture of something to do with David Brent dancing and said, you don't know shit. You're not you're not a Hollywood insider like me. And
I saw you tweeting about that.
You're not a Hollywood insider.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got locked out of my Twitter account, just coincidentally. So I'll have to go onto Threads, I think. But
It's more suited to you anyway.
well, yeah, I am very PC and politically correct and also sensitive. No, I am a very sensitive person, but I think the second thing is that Threads is probably going to be a better thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
Zuckerberg, all that stuff. He's great.
Yeah, I like Zuckerberg. I think Facebook is fantastic. And I would just like to say, is anybody here excited as I am about seeing Insidious, the Red Door?
Yeah, we looked at the trailer on this channel.
Well, you mean earlier?
Yeah, months ago.
Oh, well, right. It came on today, but it was on like because I just. So, have you heard of this new show by Britt Marling and Sal Batman Gleach or something is his name? He wrote the OA with her, and now they've got this new one called Murder at the End of the World.
Will there be assholes dancing in sequence together in it?
Well, I think it's only got 7 episodes, so they've omitted any performative dance or robots doing performative dance because
7 assholes.
FX said, we don't want any of that, please, Brit. It's too much. And whilst there's some people on Reddit who absolutely adore it and then start performing it outside Netflix when they cancelled the OA. Literally. One woman did actually starved herself as well.
Wow. Good for her.
And had to go to hospital or something. But anyway, I mean, it looks better than the OA, yeah.
Okay.
So, are you looking forward to it?
I'll check it out when it comes
August
out.
29th.
Oh, really? Already? Okay. No.
It'll be on FX.
Super.
Well, it's very soon. It's only about a month and a half away now, and I've actually got
that's very soon.
A kind of a digital clock counting down to when it's on. So,
I wasn't as big a fan of that show as you people were, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
You people.
No, I mean, I think with the OA, it's like it's more of a one watch through, and then it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, there's some really good episodes.
Yeah, but it's kind of got so many other different parts of it and slow aspects as well that not necessarily worth sort of watching repeatedly or something. It's not got that repeatability about it.
I prefer the second season, which is rare.
Yeah, I can understand why he did, definitely, because it's more engrossing as a whole. But the first season introduces you to some interesting characters, I'd say. But
it's a good show. There's no question about it. And she's good enough that I would check out this other show. I'm just not familiar with it.
I think it's going to be sort of a bit related to the OA in some way, but maybe not blatantly. Who knows? But it's got Clive Owen in it. Joan Chen is in it from Twin Peaks, obviously.
I didn't know Clive Owen. That's good. He's good.
So he's the lead. He's the lead male actor, I think, and he looks very much like Hap in, the OA, the way he's dressed and everything. With glasses and sort of smart clothing.
What about her husband? Is he in it?
Whose husband?
Britt Marling's. Wasn't he in the other one?
I don't think she's married.
Oh, I thought the guy who played the baddie, and I thought he was her husband. No, he's not.
Oh, he's her husband in the end of the second season.
I thought that was like a fourth wall thing, and he truly was her husband.
No. He's just her husband in that. Yeah, Britt Marling and completely forgot the name of the actor for some reason now. So, are there any last things you wanted to discuss, both of you, before we finish? Jason Isaacs. Yeah. I watched this new Irvin Walsh drama here called Crime that was quite good with with Doug Ray Scott in it, who you may know from probably the greatest Mission Impossible film, number 2. I think many people would agree with me that that's the best one.
The second one, okay.
Well, I mean, are you saying yes, you agree, or
I do.
Volta?
I have no specific memory of these Mission Impossible movies. They're fine when I watch them, but like the recent Indiana Jones or not Indiana Jones, James Bond films,
Yeah.
nothing stands out in my memory about them except for a few sequences here and there. And so I couldn't even tell you the difference. I know that, there's one where he was in Dubai. He's always wearing super tight pants. The thing I noticed, the film where he was with
Josh.
Jeremy Renner in Dubai, they're wearing suits with super tight pants. And I said, I remember watching, I'm like, is this going to be the new trend? And so then what did I start noticing? Every guy in suits in LA had super tight fucking pants in their suit pants. So that's the most memorable thing about Mission Impossible.
Did you rebel to the opposite and have big baggy
I would never
pants?
wear pants that tight. No, I just
Sounds a bit of a homosexual reaction.
It's just a cut. It's a different cuts of suits is how suits evolve. You know what I mean? It changes back and forth. Baggy suits, super tight, double breasted, and then there's always the classic cut, boring that I go with. You know.
I think the film I was referring to, number 2, is directed by John Woo, so it's got a lot of slow motion sequences and sort of really over the top action, and it has that part at the start where he's on the rocks climbing, and it sort of seems really incredible.
I remember Metallica did a music video using those scenes.
No, I think this next one's going to be a big hit.
Linkin Park. No, not Linkin Park. Limp Bizkit did the music. Take a look around, but the ending has this long, prolonged sort of scene of where they're like flying at each other on bikes. Yeah. And then they end up on a beach, and it's kind of a fight that goes on for quite a while. But mainly, the thing I remembered is that Ben Stiller actually did the stunts for Tom Cruise in that. I don't know if you ever saw that promos, that behind the scenes bit.
What, Ben Stiller was a stuntman?
No, he played in a kind of comedy sketch. And he played, and he says, "How about we call it Kicking Impossible, because there's so much kicking in this film."
Kicking Impossible.
Yeah.
Anyway, hilarious.
We have to see it to really find it funny. But I just wanted to say, though, that I watched Mark Commode's latest review of this new Dead Reckoning Part 1, and he said it's very good. So,
well, I think the movie's going to be a hit, personally. What did he say about Indiana Jones, Kermode?
He seemed to like it, right?
No, he said it was okay. It was fine, which is not really a good review. So,
or a lot of the reviews I saw were, it's better than Crystal Skull, which is not really a great.
And it's weird. A lot of the internet reviews I saw were like people are saying the Crystal Skull's better than this. Like like just internet, like YouTubers,
Well, you can always trust a lot of people on YouTube. I mean, a lot of them. They're definitely well-adjusted individuals, but
we're on YouTube, literally speaking.
We'll see. The box office has been taking it in the shorts this summer, so we'll see.
This is not on YouTube.
Gasp.
Well, anyway, I think that. Sorry for talking you over there, Voltaire. What did you say?
No, it's fine. I just said what Gary's point is. The box office this summer has been something Hollywood needs to really adjust and compensate for people enjoying watching films at home.
Yeah,
but I think that the secret of that is basically having a train go off of a edge of a cliff into a quarry, which was actually filmed in Derbyshire near me.
Was that
on that actual day? On that actual day, I was in Manchester.
You're looking up what's that?
On a canal boat, meeting with Christabel, and so I couldn't go and watch that being filmed. So,
well, they did it in the Indiana Jones film. There's a big train sequence right off the top. It didn't help.
Yeah, but it doesn't look realistic particularly. Whereas this one in Dead Reckoning, it's all filmed for real.
Okay.
And so, they actually filmed a real train going off a cliff and stuff. So
it's interesting.
That's, I mean, in Back to the Future 3, I don't think that was a real train going off a cliff. It was probably a miniature. But in this, they had a real cliff, and that's what's going to make people go. They'll be like, "There's a real cliff used in this with a real train." Fucking hell! Like, I'm going to go to the front of the cinema and lie down on the floor with my trousers around my ankles and sort of like go, "Oh yeah, do it to me."
Why?
This train can come at me full blown.
Oh my god! Continue.
And I don't think people will be going to see Insidious: The Red Door saying that, will they? So.
Hmm.
But have you thought about going to see Insidious: The Red Door with your latest squeeze?
No. This is not a trend. Going to 2 movies in the last. I still don't like I don't like the theater experience. I don't like mixing with the animals. I still don't.
Were there many people in there?
Yeah, I saw the Indiana Jones on a Saturday after like a brunch, like a matinee, and it was packed.
Yeah,
It wasn't packed. It wasn't packed. There was people in there.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say packed.
So
probably the best time to go. I like the Saturday afternoon matinees. They're pretty good time to go.
I prefer to go to Monday at 10 a.m. That's when
that's
you can
perfect.
guarantee no one will be there.
Yeah.
I don't like mixing with the animals. I mean, is there? I will say I might want to go see this Dune film in the theaters because I like the first one so much, but I don't know if I want to sit in the theater for fucking 2 hours 45 minutes to watch Denis Villeneuve
Hold it in your urine.
Yeah, I don't like that. So I don't know if I want
to. I never take a piss break. You guys can't hold it in for the whole movie, really? You can't do that. It's not that hard. How much do you drink during the film?
I don't need a lot of carbohydrates, so no, I can't.
My God.
No, but I'd take water in there with me and like down a whole 2-liter bottle of water before the film.
I don't think I've ever went to the.
It's just part of my ritual.
Oh God.
I says I'll need it for this film.
Well, it's just uncomfortable too, Johnny, sitting in these seats for whatever. Unless you're like Mandela Man and you're microdosing, whoa, and you can just kind of fall into your seat. Whoa, bruh. Whoa. And you can enjoy yourself.
It's happening.
But, then that's cool, I guess. But,
it's happening again.
Again. It's happening again.
I've left my glass of apple juice outside the cinema.
That was great. That was terrific. Anyway. Okay.
All right. Well, I'll let you two both go now, and I'll just go back to watching all of the Mission Impossible films. I think so.
Look forward to your review on the series.
I'll get to it eventually. But thank you both for joining me.
No problem. Really fun today.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Voltaire, for coming back.
Yeah, sure. The pleasure was all yours.
Well, the pleasure was also the audience.
Yeah.
The audiences, I should say. So thank you, everyone. All the best for now. And you will see me very soon. And hopefully you'll see others too. So
right. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
All the best for now. See you in the trees.
Ciao,
Take care, everyone. See you, Johnny. Bye.
See ya. Ciao.